All right, guys. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into this.
I forgot to put the name
Am, huh?
I forgot to put the name of the campaign on the thing.
Oh, it's fine. It's in the title. So everybody, welcome to Shards of the Mythallar. I am Tim, and I will be your dungeon master for this game. I'm glad you all stopped in for episode 1 because it's better when you see it all from the start, anyways. And real quick, before we get started, let's introduce our players. First off, let's start with my lovely wife over there.
Hi guys, I'm Hope. I love all of you so much. I'm not gonna introduce my character because reasons.
That's fine.
And
Looks like we already know who it is, though, right, Thomas? How you doing, Thomas?
This is obviously a.
So yeah, Thomas, they're starting at level 4 because I peeked at Hope's old character sheet, and that's where we left off with her, and that's where we're picking up here. Next, let's go to Akani Ordo.
I am Akani Ordo. I love all of you almost as much as Hope does. I'm here to have fun with my friends and have fun with you.
All right, and Kat.
I'm Kat, the Kodiak Jew. I'm just very excited to start this campaign finally because Piper's like my favorite.
Oh, jeez.
And then last but certainly not least, we've got Dan.
I'm Dan. I'm here tonight, have a little bit of fun, and see if I can destroy Tim's campaign. Let's see what we can do.
Oh God, yeah. I've played in many of Dan's games. It's the first time he's gonna be playing in one of mine, so this is gonna be fun. All right. So, for those of you that remember, long time ago where we left off in Cliffsdale. And for a lot of you that weren't around, don't worry, we're gonna have a fresh start. Cliffsdale. Sorry, I had something written down. So we are starting off in the small little farming village called Cliffsdale in the Veiled Mountains on the northern part of the continent of Erebus. It is called the Veiled Mountains because generally the populations tend to stay away from them because anything that's non-Fey, which are native to the mountain, tends to get lost and sometimes never come back. Think of like a vertical Bermuda Triangle. It is late fall, though the weather's it's early fall, not late fall. Early fall just started. The weather has been a little stormy, which sometimes you might even hear a little rumble of thunder and some cracks of lightning. And it's early morning, and in the village of Cliffsdale, about twice a year, they tend to have a caravan that comes in, led by some mountain locals into the village to do trade. Cliffsdale is a beautiful little village that is well known for its wool. It has very high quality wool that you can't find anywhere else because they have a very unique breed of sheep that they can't find anywhere else in the world. And the traders tend to bring things to Cliffsdale for mutual agreements, things that they can't really find there. Sugar, alcohol, things like that. More luxuries. Luxuries that you can't really find that high up on the mountain cliffs. And it is, again, early morning and it's raining. And the people of Cliffsdale have started to come out of their homes. The roads are a little muddy as a train of wagons is being led in by a cloaked figure, looks like of some sort of elven lineage, leading a procession. At the head cart, you see a very fat, portly, balding old half-orc, and he's just kind of cracking the whip on his oxen as they're slowly lumbering up the muddy path. And there's about 4 wagons following in, and it doesn't take long before they set up around the center of town, and they start opening up shop, so to speak. Their wagons popping open and turning into little portable stalls, so to speak. And they're trading their wares, and some people in the village are coming out with their own things to trade back wool and other items you can find. And it's at about this time that, this loud raucous noise is wailing out, and you hear the half-orc. He goes, "Now you be careful with that! We found that along the way, and I told don't break that, Joey!" And then you see 2 of them just drop this large metallic wooden and stone man-looking thing. Almost looks like armor. And it just splats right into the mud.
Oh no.
They go, "What? If you break that, I swear to God, I'm taking it out of your pay!" And then you see them, and it's 2 larger half-orcs, younger, probably, it's hard to tell, some sort of relation to them. And they grumble, and they groan and strain as they lift up, and the creature, the thing is very just stiff, and very looks very old. And they start dragging it over towards the shop that's in the back of town that most of the people in town know belongs to the gnome artificer Bimble. And then he's going, bring it over there. You know that's who's going to want it. And go get that little chattery one, too, that we found at that stall over in the city. Yeah, tell it to shut up. I'm tired of hearing it ramble. And you see one, and they pick up, and they kind of shoulders another. It looks like some sort of automaton-looking thing, and he just kind of stuffs it up under his arm and just starts walking with it. And that's where we're going to start off. And let's see, Piper, I'm assuming, would be located in the shop.
Actually,
or where would you be,
Piper,
since this is where the start is going to be?
Piper would, since she knows the market's coming, she would definitely be there. Like she would be there when they would start setting up.
So then you see them drop this man.
She camped out. There's no line, but she camped there last night.
Right. It looks like it's a suit of armor almost, but it's definitely not a suit of armor.
What is that?
Go ahead and roll me an intelligence check.
Oh boy, I'm good at those.
First for the large looking
The
thing.
Lorge.
The Lorge.
Oh, my dice are thinking. Alright, intelligence check. 24!
So you know that to be... It looks like it's something called a Warforge. You haven't come across too many Warforges in your time because Warforge and Artifice, they're similar, but they're not exactly the same. Warforges are more wizardcraft. They're almost closer to like a golem almost, you know, an infused soul inside of a metallic automaton-like body, but without actual gears and working parts. Well, some, but not as many and as intricate as your Artifice. And then roll me another intelligence check for the thing that's hooked under the larger half-orc's arm that they referred to as the chattering one.
Natural 20!
You don't know what the hell that thing is. It looks like it's something that Bimble might have made, but something doesn't look right to you, but you don't know what. And
So I don't know what it is.
you know that it looks like it's some sort of, again, automated thing, but you've never seen anything like it. This is a new one, even for you.
Oh my. Well, you need to be very careful with that.
And she's gonna try and like pick up the Warforge. She's gonna cast Prestidigitation. She's gonna take like this little flat like bit of metal that she has that sort of is a little bendy, and she's just gonna like dab it like here and there on him and cast Prestidigitation through it. So basically, it cleans through the metal essentially.
So you're trying to clean up the cracks and everything like that?
Well, he just fell in the mud. So.
Oh yeah, he's dirty AF right now.
So she's gonna try and clean him up.
And even the Warforges that you've seen in books, you've never seen one like this. Because generally they're geared towards three different things. Because you rolled really well. They're geared towards either doing major combat, some sort of stealth or assassination, or some sort of like range sort of combating.
Oh boy, this is a good one. I can't wait to do some tinkering on this thing.
And her breath is like fogging up on the metal because she's so excited.
And mysterious elven lineage person, Kat, your character, who was the one that was leading this procession into town, you see this very eccentric fawn that even the others in the village kind of look at it and are like, okay. And then like they're going about their business. They're kind of avoiding her and her crazy machinations. And then as you're seeing this, you see the older half-orc that had hired you to lead his caravan into town. He comes over and he goes, "Oh, thank you very much," and then he drops a platinum piece into your hand. And then he goes over and he goes, "Yo, hey, I remember you. You know that little you worked for Bimble."
Oh yeah, I was his apprentice, yes.
Yeah. Where is the old guy? He owes me a drink and I think at least 50 gold from that bet he lost.
Oh, jeez. Well, sir, I have some bad news for you. He stopped breathing. Well, he's dead.
What do you mean he's dead? He owes me money.
Oh, I have money. What money do you need?
Hey, you don't owe me money. He owes me like 50 gold pieces.
I know, but he's really dead.
Well, wait a minute. He was old. That son of a bitch. I can't believe he died before he paid. I told him he was going to die before he paid.
Well, he died very nobly.
Bimble Noble? Yeah, right. Okay. I'll pay my condolences over his house, but tell me, where did he? Where you got him buried out back? I want to know where I can go leave some flowers or something.
He was made into a memorial for his great sacrifice.
Memorial? Where? I don't see a memorial.
Town down at the bottom of the mountain. Can't miss it.
The town at the bottom of the mountain?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. You know, that place used to be such a dump. Now it looks real nice now. Although the people are really weird still, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know, I guess. So, I mean, we're all a little bit weird, huh? Some more than others.
Right, yeah. I suppose. Hey, so, I mean, I guess I'm talking to you then. So, you know, I brought this here. We found it along the way. Somebody dug it out of a tree.
A tree?
Yeah, it been under the tree for so long, it looked like the tree grew around it. They were chopping it down, and then the thing was right in the middle of it.
Well, that was very peculiar.
Yeah, I figure, you know, we tried to see if we can get it moving, but, you know, we brought it over to a wizard, and he said he didn't know what the hell, what to do with it. So I figured maybe Bimbo would want it, and I was going to see if I can get, like, you know, 20 or 30 gold pieces for it, but, I mean, now that I'm dealing with you, I mean, he did owe me, like, 50 gold pieces.
Well, so she takes out her coin purse and she looks inside. She has 50 gold, 80 silver, and 5 coppers. I'll give you 70 gold. Well, 50 gold and wait,
I'm trying to do math in my head.
10 silver is 1 gold.
Okay, so
I'll give you 20 silver and 50 gold to make up for Bibble's debt to you, and for the Warforged. And she
cling cling on his chest.
But that shorts me like 18 gold.
Well, I'm a fun, sir. I'm a little short myself.
You see the elven woman laugh at that.
So
That's pretty funny, yeah, I guess.
he kind of like you see he like sticks his finger into the bag that you were nosing in, and he looks in there and he goes, oh, son of a bitch, even at death he would. I'll tell you what, I'll take the whole bag of gold. I'll take all of it off of you, the gold, the silver, and the copper. You give me a couple of knickknacks that Bimbo has. They love that shit down in the city, and I'll throw in the little chattery one. Dan, what's your character doing now that he's being shouldered under a big half-orc?
He's just kind of squirming there for the moment.
Yeah, I'll throw in the little squirmy thing under my son Richie's arm there, and just some of the knickknacks. Because I'm literally, that thing's driving me crazy.
What? No, hey, you can't sell me. No. Beep.
I mean, yeah, I'll take them. I like all things that beep and boop.
Beautiful.
What? No. Hey, no. You can't sell me. I'm not for sale.
What do you mean you're not for sale? I bought you. I can tell you. That's how these works. It's a called a transaction.
But I'm my own person. You can't. You're a slave trader?
No, I'm not a slave trader. You're some sort of automaton robot thing like Bimble makes. Right?
Who's Bimble? I don't know him.
Well,
He
he's
didn't
dead.
make me.
Who made you then? What? I mean, I've never seen. What are you?
How about I won't buy the chattery one. I'll pay you back what you paid for him, and then he has his freedom. How does that sound? He can go where he wants.
All right, but I get my pick of knickknacks from Bimbles.
You could have 2 knickknacks.
Me too. I get them too.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
All right. Joey, Richie, drag these things over to Bimble's place for little sneezes over here. What's your name, Sneezes?
Piper.
Piper, that's right. I'm sorry,
Piper.
Piper. I see you twice a year. I'm old. My memory ain't what it used to be.
That's okay, sir.
Us half-orcs are usually dead by now.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's okay.
Okay.
Half the people in town don't even know my name.
That's not so very surprising. Okay, yo, boys, bring it over there. And then you see him, he takes your bag of money, and then he starts to follow him over towards to, go pick through some knickknacks himself.
Can I keep the... I'll give you the coin inside, but can I keep the bag, please? It belonged to Bibble.
Oh, yeah, sure. And he pulls out his bag, and he kind of sticks the tip of your bag in there and shuffles out the coins into his bag, and then he takes it and he hands it to you.
She takes it back and puts it in her bag.
He's a very nice, ornate, walking staff, and he's kind of using that to help him walk along. You can tell he's very paunchy and rotund at the bottom, but he's very powerful up at the shoulders and the arms. You can tell he probably did a lot of, heavy lifting and things when his youth, but as he got old, he just kind of sat around and told everybody else what to do. And they start
Can,
to...
can you let, I can walk, can you let me down?
Should I let him down, boss? Yeah, I don't know him anyway. Sure, let him put him on the fucking ground. I don't care. And he sets you down. And he shrugs and he goes over and and Joey goes to help his brother Richie, or Richie goes to help Joey lug the Warforged over to the shop. And so they're leaving now. You see them leaving your character, Kat. And at this time, you see a lot of the fawns have been coming out. Like I said, they're bringing all sorts of goods from the area. The mayor of the village actually comes up, recognizing you since you tend to bring the troops, the caravans. You're the one that been bringing the caravans around for the last few years. And he comes
maps.
up, and the maps, exactly. And he just comes up, he goes, it's good to see you again. Thank you again for bringing them here. They're the only trading group that comes this way. Here, and he pulls out, he's got a little coin purse, and it's the same one he gives you every time, and he hands it to you, expecting several new maps of the mountain, because you know that the mountain needs to constantly be mapped, because the mountain is constantly changing.
Nature is ever changing.
In more ways than one in this case, because this mountain, every time you map it, it's completely different.
Interesting.
Which is why your village and yourself has been very necessary for the area for so many years.
Yeah. Good money. How much money have I made so far between him and the caravan owner?
The caravan owner, he paid you a platinum piece or 10 gold to run you up. He's going to pay you another 10 gold to get him back off the mountain. And the mayor, you gave him 3 maps. You've broken the mountain into 3 maps that they really needed of that area. And he paid you, again, 10 gold apiece for each map.
Okay.
So, not a bad living, you know?
All right. That's
cool. And he's going to leave you, and then after he does that, he'll go, okay, thank you again. I'm assuming you'll probably be leading them out of town by morning. So if you need anything, again, the town is at your disposal. Thank you very much.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'll give him like a small head bow and leave, and just try to peddle some of my maps on the streets next to the caravan, like hunting trails and the easiest ways to travel, things like that.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Okay. That's a nat 20.
Ooh,
We are rolling fire tonight,
right.
friends.
Which means
Plus 1 for 21.
all right. Which means, let's see. You said they're just little hunting trail maps, so they're not going to be as elaborate as the maps that you sold the mayor.
No.
All right. So,
Simple maps for
Ooh,
hunters
not bad.
and people.
So the maps that you've been selling, they're very specific, small areas. So it didn't take you very long to make them. You're able to peddle off each one for 2 gold apiece, but you sell about a dozen of them to the local hunters and foragers of the village. So you make about another 24 gold pieces.
Perfect.
So it's been a very eventful season for you.
I have 69 gold.
Hey.
Sex number. All right. So, you're left to your own devices.
Yep.
Piper.
So yeah, I'm just in the with the caravan selling maps.
Sure. Yeah. You see a lot of the funds tend to go towards the second from the last caravan, which has the alcohol. It has mead. It has, because the village here is really well known for both its wool and its wine. It's got really good wine climate, but its ale and its spirits tend to be terrible. So the caravan makes a killing off of that, and you can tell. And generally, by nightfall, the village tends to have a really big party to celebrate that, because fawns like to party, and they got good booze. So you're in a treat for that. But in the meantime, you see that happening, and then the eccentric fawn and the caravan leader and his 2 big burly sons dragging off the Warforged, and the little beep boop bot following. I don't know. What are you doing, little beep boop bot?
Actually, yeah, I'm going to follow the Warforged with every step. Kurt chunk. I got what looks to be a walking stick with the sling over the top of it, under one arm as I move forward.
Beautiful, beautiful. So they make it back to the shop, which is at the more rear part of the village, almost a little ways outside of the village. Takes them about, because of the war. Well, let me see how long it takes these big guys. It doesn't take too long. They're strong guys, and they're the caravan leader, Carl. he's been going, hurry up, I don't got all day, it's raining out here and I'm getting all soggy and, it's bad for my bones, I'm old. Come on, hurry up. And he's kind of, pushing him along. And let's see, they only drop the Warforged, they drop him about 3 times in the mud and they go, sorry, boss. And he's like, well, it's already paid for. And finally they get to Bimble's shop and they wait for Piper to open the door, of course.
Oh yeah, just a second, guys. Hold on one second. I got the key right here.
And she's got like a series of like keys and locks and slides and little complicated little doohickeys to open up the door. But she does open it up for them and pushes the door open.
And so then they bring in the Warforge and they look, where do you want me to set this? And Carl's already wandered off over towards Bimble's work table, knowing that's where knickknacks are, and he's not touching anything, but you can see he's got his pointer finger out and he's just kind of like eyeing up things that he would like to take.
She waits.
No, they asked you where you wanted them to put the
Oh,
Warforge.
let's put a bow over here.
And she gestures to her work table.
Alright.
Which is currently cleaned off, but it's long and wide enough for, she's been working on the whirly hopper, so.
Yeah. And where is the whirly hopper at this point? The ornithopter.
The ornithopter she's been kind of testing it out, so it's up and out back, like up on one of the ledges up on the mountain.
Okay.
With a tarp over it.
So the 2 large half-orcs, one of them grabs the feet of the Warforge and they hoist him up and... Yeah, they do that, no problem. They hoist him up and they gently set him on the table. And then one of them kind of like takes his shirt and lifts it up and is just kind of starting to wipe the mud off. But it's just smearing it really because his shirt's all wet. He's like, I'm really sorry about the mud.
Oh, no problem at all.
And she like touches the little metal square to his chest and casts prestidigitation.
And starts cleaning the mud off. And he's like, that's a really neat trick.
Oh, thank you. I invented it myself.
Invented what? And you just kind of see, like, when you say invented, it's just kind of like a flat line as he's like, don't think too hard, Joey, you're gonna hurt yourself. Good kids, but they take after the mother. Dumb as a stump. But huge.
Okay. That's good information.
So what does this doohickey do? And you see, and he's kind of pointing over at one of the little automated things that Bimble had invented. It was something that would get tools for him.
Oh, this is an invention that gets tools for you when you need them. So you don't have to get them yourself.
Okay, I'll take this one.
Okay.
And then, what's this over there? And he kind of points, and he's pointing at this melted automaton figure. The bottom half of it is just kind of melted flat, and you've managed to kind of fix part of the chest cavity and the arms and the head, and it's got this cute little head that you spent a lot of time fixing the head of, and it's almost back to perfect. Only got a couple of dents in it, and it's got those gemstone eyes, and it's currently powered off. But yes, it is the one and only Sparks that was extremely damaged in your adventures when you slipped into the ethereal plane with your friend, the Dragonborn.
That's my friend Sparks. I'm trying to fix him.
Oh yeah, he's not really doing too much. He's kind of taking his meaty pointer finger. He's just kind of like dink on his forehead, kind of like how people would tap on a fish tank.
He kind of got exploded, but I'm fixing him. He'll be back to normal in no time.
How long? Yeah, will he be
Well,
done by
something got exploded.
Yeah, he got exploded by
Something.
fire.
My ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Yeah, just saying it every time he takes a step. walking over to the where the other orc is. Beep, and just kind of reaches up and starts checking things out on the table.
Beep.
Well, I'm afraid he's not an option as far as taking goes. He's my best friend.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't want anything that's broken. I can't sell broken stuff.
Yeah.
I always sold the broken stuff to Bimble, but now who am I going to sell it to? I mean, I guess I can sell it to you.
Yeah, fuck me.
Okay, but let's see here. What about this thing? And you see he picks up, and it's this mechanical hand that has 5 quills, one sticking out of this. So it's literally got the regular joints of a hand, and out of each point of the finger, it has a quill. And you know that as Bimble made it as this little auto writer, that it can't do anything like scribe magic scrolls or anything, but he would use it to take notes for himself because Bimble was lazy and he didn't like to write things. So it would sit there and it would.
Piper likes to write everything herself, so she doesn't have any problem parting with that.
Oh yeah, that'll write stuff for you. You just hold out your hand and you think about what you want to write, it just sort of writes it.
You don't write anything?
I mean, not magical anything, but
Oh.
recipes, instructions.
Maybe I'll give it to my
Letters.
wife.
Yeah,
She's got terrible handwriting.
there you go. I thought the handwriting is pretty good.
Yeah, she writes me little notes before I leave, and I can't tell if they're love notes or if she's angry at me.
Oh, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's angry at me.
I mean, if you call her a stump, I'd probably be mad at you too.
I didn't call her a stump.
Oh.
I said she was dumb as one, because she is. Beautiful woman. Very muscular like my boys here. But, you know, she has her endearing qualities, though. But let's be honest here. I'm not the brightest bum in the bush either. If I was, I'd be retired. I'd be retired and I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere sipping some, mead. But, here I am up in these dreary mountains in the cold rain.
Yeah. Here you are.
It's a living. Okay. All right, boys. Bring these to the cart. Let's go get some of this wool. Make sure you get that wool. All right, get out of here before you break. Don't touch that, Joey. And you see him slap his hand because Joey was kind of slowly reaching over towards Sparks. Sorry, Dad. And then they go and they make their way out.
Well, peace and quiet once again. Left to the tinkering of my fingers.
And she goes over to the
Yeah,
door.
a lot of quiet.
Yes, very quiet. So, you're a very strange...
Can I roll insight on this little, robot?
Sure. What's the insight that you're trying to be
Because
insightful?
Piper knows, automatons. She knows constructs.
Sure.
And I feel like she would know something's fishy about this.
Sure.
Because he's narrating all of his
Sure.
beeps and his
Before you roll your insight, Dan, go ahead and roll me a deception check. This is going to determine the DC of your insight check.
All right. And that is a 19.
Okay. All right, go ahead and roll your insight.
Do you want me to re-roll it? Do you want me to keep the one I
No,
have?
whatever you rolled's fine.
Okay, I got a 17 on the die, and my insight's +4, so it's a 21.
Okay. You know automatons, you know mechanical things, you know that, some things like Warforged and some of the things that Bimble made can be very quirky. But there is something a little fishy here. You're not sure. It's not like you're like, okay, this up, but you're definitely got an inkling that something's not right about it. Either this is one of the most remarkable pieces of technology you've ever seen, or not. But you're not sure. But you're leaning more one way than the other.
So, what's your function, little guy?
She's gonna say as she goes over to the table and starts working on the Warforged. She starts trying to see if there's some sort of access panel or something on him.
My function is to see everything there is in the world. I read a book once that said that was called what was it called again? It was called everything you should see whenever you leave home.
Wow, that's really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I plan on flying away from here someday, and if you want to come fly with me, you can. It's really easy to see lots of things when you're flying.
Then she's gonna chunk over to her. You're gonna fly, Beep? You have wings? Wings? You really? You can do? You can give me wings? I can fly too. That'll be amazing.
I don't have wings, but I'm building a cart that goes in the sky. It's called an ornithopter.
What's gonna pull it?
Magic.
Magic's gonna pull it. I keep hearing people tell me magic will do it whenever they don't want to explain how things work.
Oh, well, I'll show it to you later, and you can see how it works yourself. I promise it's real. It kind of works like this.
And she takes one of these little it's made out of metal. It's kind of like one of those helicopter seeds that you throw up in the air, and it twirls down and flies down. She kind of throws it up, and as it's spinning and coming back down, it was a prototype for the whirly hoppers in the ornithopter. But she shows him that and how it sort of flies.
So this is the function of the whirly hopper that goes on top of the ornithopter, but the magic inside of the gems fuels the engine, and that makes it go forward. So you don't just plummet down, you go, and then you land when you want to stop.
Oh, okay. So it really is magic that's actually making it work. That's not just an excuse this time. Okay, I see. Can I see that? And he's going to reach out and catch that as it starts to go down. And since he's from not from this world and he has his own currency from his world, he's going to pop out a steel coin and toss it.
Oh, this is really interesting.
It's a robot money.
Robot money, wow.
Robot money.
Can I roll? Is he lying?
Yeah, go ahead.
Robot money.
Yeah.
I feel like she would believe him though, because she's really gullible. So I'll roll it with disadvantage. Oh wow, yeah, she totally believes him.
Yeah,
Dirty 20.
It
She got a 8 on her.
It definitely looks like it is a form of currency, 100% absolutely. But the one thing that you also notice about it that it's not iron, like he said, it's steel. So this is a very high quality metal.
Oh, thank you. I like robot money. This is very useful for me. Thank you very much.
And she's gonna like stick it in her now empty coin purse because that just seems like where it should go. Actually, no, she's gonna put it in her box of shrapnel where she keeps like all the different like her steel shrapnel box because she has all her shrapnel organized.
Because even though you believe him, you're pretty sure that there's not many people around here that would accept that as money. But like you said, that is something that could be very useful to you.
So she's
And he is paying attention to where she puts everything.
she's gonna take that as he's being very helpful. So she's gonna go back to the table and start checking out that Warforged.
Sure, roll me a tinkering check.
Yay! Alright, so that's my intelligence, right? Plus proficiency?
Yes.
Am I double proficient in it?
I don't remember.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you get expertise with artifice.
So that is 13 plus 5. So that is a dirty 20.
Okay. So you're looking around. I just popped my earpiece up. So you're looking at the chest piece of this Warforged, and it's old. It's definitely got some age to it. It's of a design that you've never seen. I mean, like I said, you've seen some books on Warforged, but this is a very, very old one. But after a little looking, you do manage to find a panel that gives you access to the interior chest cavity. And with your check, you got your little tinkery tools, and you've been prestidigitating it a little bit. So it's gotten the mud and everything off, but there's still a little wear and tear in it because it hasn't budged in ages. But you managed to pry it open. And then inside you do see some inner workings, some wiring, and it all tends to come back to this central stone around the center, about the same place that you would find like a human heart or a fawn heart, so to speak, right around the center of the chest. And there's some tubes and wiring going to it, but it seems to be a little inert.
Can I do a check to see if I know how to fix it?
Sure.
Is that a tinkering check again?
Yes.
So that is a 16 this time.
You're not too sure while observing it while it's still in the cavity itself. From that check, you feel like you may have to disassemble them a little bit to get a little more of an understanding of the inner workings of it to see if you could possibly get it working again.
Okay, so she'll do that.
Okay, so what are you doing? Are you trying to take out the gem first? The stone?
She's going to.
Because the stone's about... it's about 3 inches and slightly oval. More like a crystalline, like a crystal shape, like you get those like crystals that you get at like the holistic places. Kind of like that shape.
So she's going to try and disconnect it first, safely, before she just tries pulling it out.
Okay, so you're grabbing it with your hand and trying to pull it out.
No, she's going to see how the tube's connecting to it.
Oh, so you're just running your fingers along the tubes. Kind of like when someone's like...
she doesn't want to just rip it out. She wants to disconnect it first. And
sure, okay, yeah. So go ahead and roll me another tinkering check, please.
12 plus 5 plus 2, so it's 19.
Okay, so yeah, you're running your fingers along and you're kind of observing, how it goes, and it looks like it kind of takes... From what you can see, it looks like it takes this energy source and it spreads it out through the entire workings of the thing, almost like a circulatory, like a circulatory system would. And as you're running your fingers along the wires, you notice like a little bit of spark of energy. Mm-hmm. And then as your finger comes and actually touches the gem, you suddenly see the gem light up. Dan, I want you to go ahead and roll me a perception check, please, because you see the gem flash.
Okay, you said perception?
Please.
That's a 10.
Okay, so you're standing there and you're kind of looking around and you notice that as you're looking around and you see her tinkering, because you said you were paying attention to her and where she's putting everything and what she's doing, you actually see Piper's hooves flare up, and you see a light similar to the color of the hooves flare up in the chest cavity of this Warforged. And Piper, you suddenly see the Warforged start to jerk a little bit.
She takes her fingers out.
Oh my God!
As it moves, and then it actually the gem starts to flash again. Thump, 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 almost like the beat of a heart, and it starts
she
to
starts
power.
to close the chest
and
cavity.
you start to see the eyes just kind of
Hold still, your chest cavity's open, but I will
and
close
power
it.
back on. And Dan, your character sees Piper's hooves are actually with the same rhythm as that. And I want you to go ahead and give me one more perception check as well.
I'm looking for a stool to drag over there instead of anything else.
Okay. And Hope, go ahead and you give me a perception check as well.
Please help.
And Piper, I'm sorry.
That is an 18. 14 plus 4.
Okay. As you back up, you're backing up. You have your eyes on it, but you look back behind you because you know there's things all over the place. And the last thing you want to do is fall over when this mysterious Warforged is starting to come back online. You don't know if it's going to get up and say hi or if it's going to get up and try to kill you. And as you look back, you actually see the odd little walking staff that the little robot was using is also flashing right near the head of it, in the same light as the Warforged chest. Cat, I know you got me muted right now. Could you also roll me a perception check?
Who's Cat?
Well, she hasn't introduced her character yet, so she's currently Cat.
I don't know if she heard you.
Cat?
Sorry, Ariel hit me.
Could you roll me a perception check, please?
I hit
Yes.
her so lightly. So
She's lying. That's a 2
She's
plus
lying.
7 for a 9.
Yeah, you're having a grand old time shopping
Yep,
right now.
I'm just selling my maps.
Selling your maps and hanging out with the fawns.
Refilling my rations.
Exactly.
All the
Checking
important-
my
all the important
timer
things.
on my spell.
Okay. And as the Warforged starts to come back to life, Piper, you notice that the flashing from the odd walking stick starts to die down. Dan, you notice that Piper's hooves, the flashing starts to die down. And then the Warforged sits up.
Oh my God! Your shoes were flashing.
My shoes?
She looks down.
Yeah, you don't see. Your hooves look normal. You're not wearing shoes, in fact.
I'm not wearing any shoes.
Yeah, poke the hooves with the hoopok.
Oh, these are my hooves.
And she does a little clippy
What?
clip clop back and forth.
Oh crap! It sat up.
She looks.
Greetings.
And you see the eyes kind of light up and look around.
Is this chest cavity still open?
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. I found
You managed to slap it shut.
Okay.
Oh dear, this is
Oh.
different.
You are Warforged, and I just came up. Well, some men found you in a tree and brought you here because they thought I could fix you, and I did.
What's wrong with your voice, Beep?
Beats.
My
Sorry.
voice. This is
Yeah.
how I always talk.
That's how robots talk.
And she looks pointedly at the little chattering robot.
Not all of us talk like that. We can talk like that. I can talk very fast. I can talk very slow. I can get my voice even higher. So don't worry about it. But his voice, he's not a real robot. I know it.
And she just kind of like raises an eyebrow, and she's just playing along with this little individual's bit because she's like doesn't know what to make of him. So she looks back at the Warforged.
Do you have a name?
My designation is K1L-80T.
K1L-80T. That's a little long. So we're gonna call you K1. Is that okay?
That's acceptable.
Or KL. Or
Do you know where
KA.
Teetle is?
Who?
Teetle.
Teetle? No.
Yes.
I-
Teetle is my caregiver.
No, I don't know who that is. Can I roll history check to see if I know who that is?
Yeah.
History. Oh, that's a 16 plus 7, so that is a 23 on my history check.
So, the name Teetle, first you're like, Teetle? What? And then the name rings a bell, kind of. The name rings a bell. In fact, you can think back to an old book, right back when you first apprenticed under Bimble. There was an old book that he made you read of famous tinkerers, artificers, and things like that. And if you remember correctly, you think it's still over on the shelf by his desk.
Oh! She runs and half falls over to the shelf to get the book.
Okay. So you flip through the book, it takes you a little bit, and then you find, and there's a short excerpt on Teetle. And the reason why it stuck out to you so much, because Teetle was not only a bit of an artificer, not as specialized as Bimble or as you or as his brother Gimble was, but there was something very unique about her that they put in the book, was the fact that Teetle was not only a tinkerer of sorts, but Teetle was a druid. And the lore of Teetle was had lived around the time of the temporal wars, and vanished mysteriously.
Oh.
They say that she had found some sort of interesting sort of technology that she was trying to learn and utilize, and that people had coveted it, and then she vanished. But it's only legend because neither her nor the technology that they spoke of was ever found.
So Teetle's mysteriously missing.
Teetle also died over 1,000 years ago.
And Teetle died 1,000 years ago, at least.
Because he had 23. Well, vanished 1,000 years ago. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that Teetle has died, but I'll be your new caregiver if you want. I'm very good at taking care of automatons and constructs and things like that.
My mistake. Vanished, not died. Vanished.
Vanished, sorry. Vanished.
I don't know. She hasn't taken very good care of me. I just got here and look at me falling apart.
I gave you... Because you're not an actual...
Is he falling apart? Like
I
other
don't
pieces
own
falling
you.
off of him?
Because I don't own you, little chattery robot. Remember, I bought you your freedom because those guys got you, and I thought you should be free.
Okay, I can believe that part. That's fine.
So what parts of you have been falling off?
The shoulder parts, part of the upper leg. It's just showing extremely bright clothing through it. Like extremely bright yellow sleeve for the shirt. There's blue pants through the part that's fallen off the side as he's walking around. You can see what looks like to be like a bright green cloak.
Because it's pretty obvious and
The more he moves around, the more obvious it becomes.
All right, we're gonna cut over to Kat real quick because Kat's had a little long drought of being able to interact. So, Kat, you are you're peddling your wares, your maps and such with the locals. You managed to, like I said, you had a pretty good day between everything. And it's at this point you see the half orc and his sons, Carl and his sons, Richie and Joey, coming out of from the rear part of the village where they had vanished off with the interesting fawn and little robot and larger, Warforged. And they're going, I bet you I could get at least 200 gold apiece for these trinkets. You just gotta sell them to the right sucker. I mean, the right person. But hey, those guys are jerks anyways. I like doing business with these guys. Oh, hey, you, elf lady. And he winks. He goes, come here. I was thinking of something. You go out of your way to help us out every 6 months or so. I know you got that pretty little compass on you that could show me how to get through here. I'm pretty sure it could show me how to get through here. You can't get too much past me, but tell you what, I'll give you 250 gold for that compass, so then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to say no. This compass is more than just monetarily valuable to me, it's also emotionally valuable. I think it's important for us all to have something emotionally valuable from us.
Okay, that's fair. I gotta respect that. I figured I would just ask you. Can I at least take a look at it for a second so I can see if I ever come across one like it, I know to keep an eye out for it? And he's too old and slow to try to pull a fast one on you, and he's always been a man of his word over the years. You've been dealing with him for years.
Yeah, yeah. Just orcs are my favorite enemy.
Well, he's a half.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Only half favorite enemy.
Right. All right. Yes, I'll reach into my layers of clothing and pull out the compass and hold it out towards him without letting go of it.
Okay, does it have like a lid on it, or can you describe what it looks like actually?
Yeah. It's just kind of like the size of her palm, which is not, it's like an average human palm. She's about 5'5". And it's gold. And then on the inside, you see one long needle. It doesn't flip open or anything. It's just a circular, kind of like you could wear it as a necklace if you wanted to, but you prefers to keep it hidden. And you see one long gold needle that seems to work as a compass should and points north. And then there's a smaller needle that kind of seems to be pointing in a certain direction as well that's different than north.
So he's looking over it, and you see him. He takes out like a piece. He's like, hey, Joey, come here. Take your shirt off and hold it over my head so I keep this paper dry. And Joey's okay. He takes his shirt off and he kind of like drapes it over like a umbrella, and he holds it over him and over the compass. And he reaches into his pouch and he takes out like a very thin piece of like almost like wax paper, like very thin paper, parchment paper, and he gently lays it over the top. And then he takes a light little piece of coal and he just kind of like makes like a rubbing of it. So he's like, oh, perfect. He shakes it off and he looks at it. It makes just like so he can see the design of it, like from the covering and everything. He's like, perfect. If I ever see this, I'm going to make sure to buy it. Now, if you ever change your mind, 250
Do you want to see
gold?
the back too?
Oh, please, thank you.
Yeah, and she'll flip it over, and on the back, it's just a really intricate engraving of like trees and a nature scene, mountains in the background.
Yeah. So he'll take the piece of paper and he'll lay it there, and then again he'll take it's very soft, like coal, almost dusty, like ready to crumble to dust. And he rubs it over, and then he shakes it, and you see he's got two perfect, copies of the etchings and the outlines and such of that. And he shakes it off and he goes, "Oh, wonderful! Thank you so much." And I'll still plan on doing business with you. You're a tough cookie. You're a tough cookie. And don't worry, your secret's safe with me. And he goes, all right, come on, Joey, let's go. And then they go and they head off back to the caravans and start wheeling and dealing. He goes, yeah, we gotta get ready. These fawns, they like to party when we bring them the booze. And yeah, it's gonna be fun, Bob. And they wander off. And then as you're taking your compass and you're getting ready to put it away, you notice that, like you said, the one needle always points north. And the other needle always points in a different direction than north. It always seems fixed. But the other needle isn't pointing the direction currently that you would normally use to. It's actually pointing at the moment back in the direction that they just came from. And where you saw them walk off with the fawn and the warforged and the strange little chattery automaton, which was slowly falling apart. And it does that for a moment, and then after about a moment or two, it shifts back to the direction that you would have anticipated.
Okay. I'll just make a mental note of the fawn, and just the fawn in particular, because I don't know if the Warforged is anything. It looks like a hunk of junk to me, and so did the littler automaton-looking thing.
Okay, and so what other plans, because you have the rest of the day to yourself. In fact, and as you're standing there and you're getting done dealing with the half-orc, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
All right, come on, I have a +7. Give me something good. That's an 18 for
Nice.
25.
Nice. So you
I'm
see...
normally very perceptive.
You see coming out of one of the fawn houses, and this is the first time you've ever... normally, this place is just solely fawns. But you see a very large hooded figure duck its way out of one of the houses, flanked on either side by a older fawn woman and an older fawn man. They seem to be helping him, and he's a very large individual, and he has a very thick walking staff that he's using to assist himself because he seems very, almost like elderly. And as he's going out, the hood gets caught on the door because the fawns are about, what, 4.5 feet tall? Oh.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, she's 4'2".
And this thing is
like 4.
this thing is closer to about 7.5 feet tall, almost 8 feet tall.
No.
And as he comes out, the hood gets caught and it brushes back, and you see this vibrant red scales of a red dragonborn. Although they're somewhat more dull than what you're used to, and he seems to be walking with a little bit of a limp. And you hear just a low rumbling voice. He's too far away to hear what he says, but the bass of it carries even through the storm. And they nod to him, and the one little fawn kind of like gets up on her tippy toes of her hooves, and then he bends down and she gives his cheek a little pinch, and then smacks him on the face, and then he nods. And then you see him as he starts to kind of like limp his way over towards the caravan. And he doesn't really pay you any mind, but he does get a lot of looks from the other caravanners. Because, again, they're only used to seeing fawns here. And he goes over, and he starts to go to the second from the front cart where they're selling different metals and things like that. And you see him kind of starting to look over the different metals and things like that.
All right. Do you do the fawns seem to react to him at all, or is everyone?
No, they a few of them they wave and things like that. Some of them seem a little nervous of him, but for the most part, they all seem to accept him pretty much. The two of the house that he walked out of did seem, treating him like as if he was a long lost son of sorts.
Okay. About how long have I been in town?
We'll say you guys have been in town now for at least a couple hours. The caravans came in right around dawn. It's about midway to noon now. Hard to tell with the sun because it's hidden behind all the clouds and everything, and it's really dreary now. The thunder has kind of calmed a little bit, but the clouds haven't departed yet. So it's been a few hours. Getting close to lunchtime.
I'll just excuse myself from the area and head outside of town.
Okay.
And take a short rest until I know that the fawns are partying in the evening, and I wanna spend some time watching that. That's always a good watch.
Oh yeah, they have a good time. A bunch of drunk fawns that generally don't get that much drink in them, they have a good time.
Fawns love
Oh yeah, they love partying. So you head out of town, and you find a nice little. So actually, roll me a survival check.
Okay, that's my other good one. That's a 22.
Oh yeah, you find a nice little secluded spot. There's a really large tree with it hasn't lost any of its leaves yet. The leaves are big fat leaves that it takes away about 99% of the rain. The occasional drop hits you, but who cares? And it's nice, the grass is dry, and you're able to just kind of bed down there. It's got a good perch for you. It's the same place where your friend's been kind of hanging out to avoid the rain as well while you're doing your business. And if you want to take a short rest or you want to make a little camp to make yourself lunch or whatever you want to do, that check is more than enough to do that. And we can go ahead.
Send Ayer out to try to hunt and get some food and then take a short rest.
Absolutely, yeah, you can go ahead and do that. That check was more than enough to do that. And we'll go ahead and we will cut back to Piper, the mystery little automaton, and the mysterious Warforged with the really cool voice. That's really cool.
Mysterious.
1,000 years. Well, that is most unfortunate.
I mean,
But it
some
seems-
things live that long.
Well, I suppose I do. But it appears I am now indebted to you for repairing me.
Oh,
That tiny automaton seems to be in need of repair.
he does. That doesn't. Well, no debts. I'm always happy to help an automaton in need, or construct, or workforce.
And she goes over and she kind of hops over to the little automaton and looks him over and.
Ah!
All right.
Wasn't paying attention.
You seem to be falling apart, so let's get you on the table here, and we'll screw in some of your bolts and make sure your joints are nice and oiled and your parts are good to go.
Okay, that table over there?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna head for that table.
She's very much aware that he's not actually.
Well, it looks like this here's a little loose.
And she's gonna like take off the chest piece.
Ah!
Careful, do not hurt him.
I love it. Does he have
My
a
shirt!
helmet?
Yes.
Oh, it looks like your headpiece here is a little bit cattywampus. Looks like it might need a little.
And she like will kind of screw it back and forth gently.
Don't, it's stuck!
We'll roll a tinker check. See if we can get it off him without,
Without hurting him.
Because is it really kind of stuck on there?
That's
Okay.
a 16.
16?
That's why he has he put the rest on.
So.
Oh my god!
So you do, as you start to lift it, it gets to the point right around his jaw where it's hooking on, and you can tell that it's kind of catching. So you go and you get a little bit of grease, and you put the helmet back down a little bit, and you finger the grease around the inside edge of the helmet, and then you're able to, and then it pops off. And there
That's
you
better,
see, Dan, go ahead and describe what they see.
Oh my God, I'm me again. Yeah, he's gonna just hop up on top of the table and start stripping off the pieces of metal. What you see before you is a bit lanky, about 3 foot tall Kinder. He looks a little bit like a halfling. He has black hair, green eyes, and very long black hair that he has pulled up into a top knot. It comes up off the top of his head and just kind of hangs over to the side. He's wearing extremely eye-jarring, garish clothes. His shirt is bright yellow. You see purple dots all over it. His pants, like I said, are bright blue. Just on one leg. The other leg is another bright yellow. Looks like he sewed it together himself. He's wearing one boot that has a very pointy toe. This one's green. On the left side, he's wearing what looks to be a high-heeled boot. He's not sure where he got it from. And yeah, that's him. Other than the bright green cloak he's wearing.
So you see K1 look down and open up his chest piece.
And he's going directly over there because he's looking to see if someone's hiding in there too.
He's going to close it. Well, I'm certainly glad that I don't look like that on the inside.
Really, you bucket of bolts? You should always look to like, man, I've been stuck in there too long. It's been weeks.
How did you get stuck in there anyway?
Well, I put the rest on, but I was looking through their stuff and the helmet fell on top of my head and I got stuck. I couldn't get it off, so I put the rest of it on.
Well, I'm glad we could get it off.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you could get it off too, but can you take the rest of his off? I think he's stuck in there real bad.
That's just the way he is.
What?
He's actually made out of metal and wood, and he's a
real robot!
A real robot, yes.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to poke around and prod and check out K1.
Oh. I'd like everybody at this point to go ahead and give me a perception check as well.
Everyone?
Yes.
Natural 20.
Whoa.
What about my
first
eagle?
roll with this dice in game.
Your eagle won't need to roll one at this point.
Okay.
14.
Okay.
19.
19. Piper? Piper?
I got 14.
Okay, no, I didn't hear what you
Already
said, that's
said
why. And then you said you got a natural 20?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I should point this way, because in the Discord call, you're there, but in the game, you're over here. So, alright, so all three of you that are, sorry, I had to think for a second, all three of you in the shop hear, suddenly hear just this kind of whirring sound coming from over on the workbench as you hear like a and the half-melted robot that was, excuse me, I think it was the half-melted robot that was there and it was inert suddenly starts to whir to life. Its eyes actually have metal lids that open, and you hear, Piper, what's, have you finished my lower? And you hear like a thunk as he puts his hands down and
I'm
like stands up a little bit, and then thunks back down because his lower half is still fairly melted. And Kat, your character, as they're sitting there and they're going through, they get done hunting and they're back at the little spot that they'd found and they're going through their pack, you notice that your compass flashes slightly in a little bit of like a bright purplish, dull purplish color, and that under the needle that was under the main needle that points to the specific direction again turns and bounces and points back towards the village for a few moments before it again slowly and then points back in the direction that it's supposed to. And you've never seen it do that before, ever. And yeah, and the rest of you see the automaton that, let's see, where we left off, he was about the size of, say, like a 12-year-old human, 13-year-old human. And the upper half of him is very finely crafted. And Piper did a pretty good job of repairing him up at this point. There's filigree in the working. Some of the metal is still a little scorched from the intense damage that it took during their incursions. But the thing that's strange for you, Piper, is he wasn't supposed to turn back on. You didn't turn him back on. You didn't activate him to turn back on. You'd actually had him deactivated while you were repairing him because you were worried that it would scare him.
Oh, Sparks. Just call that Sparks. I'm working very hard on fixing you. I had you deactivated in the meantime so that you could rest. Because rest helps.
But I don't sleep, Piper.
Oh, you rest though.
No, that was part of my design. I could work while Bimble rested. And then you see his eyes kind of flash a little bit, and he looks, 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 and he looks like this. He looks down at your feet, up, over, in like in this triangular pattern, and then his head shifts and looks in an odd direction that's facing at a wall, and then it slowly turns back, and he just, Piper, who are these people?
Oh, Sparks. These are some new people that I met today. This is K1,
And she gestures to the Warforged, and she looks at the Kender, and she's,
I'm sorry, I didn't ask your name. What's your name?
Oh, sorry, my manners are fat. And he's going to stick out his hand for both Piper and his other hand for Spark. I'm Chet. How are you doing?
Hi, Chet, and this is Chet. Hello, Chet.
Sparks
I'm doing
takes
very
Chet's
well.
hand, shakes it.
Oh.
Chet. And K1. Is this another of Bimble's automatons?
No,
I've never seen this one.
somebody brought him by today. He needed to be fixed, and when I touched the gem inside his chest, he came back to life. It was very strange.
And then when you say gem, his head again shifts, and he looks, and then he shifts again, and then he's down, and he does that triangular pattern again, looking at your feet, over towards the Kender, at K1, back to Chet, your feet, and then again, sharp shift towards that wall,
You
and then
okay,
slowly turns back.
Sparks?
I am detecting fluxes of energy that are similar to what we detected in the ethereal plane.
Oh. Okay. That's good to know. What? So for me? Probably because I know why that is. We don't talk about that.
Your hooves are exuding the same energy signature that detected that when we went over to the plane.
Like Chet said. My hoofs.
What's the interior plane?
The ethereal plane.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's a scary place where there's a big monster that tried to kill us. It's this place in between worlds. I don't know much about it yet. Or do I know much about it yet?
You've tried to find books on it, but the closest
Can I see it?
Maybe someday. I don't really know how to get there.
And you see Sparks go, yes, and his head turns, and his eyes kind of light up, and then a big projection goes up against the wall.
Whoa.
And you see Piper, you see exactly what he had seen during that time in the ethereal plane where you see these, at the time where these masses had actually come together to create floating platforms that should have been there, which was the odd part of it, but then all this just odd energy, almost this just nothing like Chet had ever seen before. Really, there was no actual land masses. Almost like an infinite black sky, so to speak, with energy rippling through it, and then these odd masses, and then you can see Piper and this large red dragonborn moving ahead of him and going through these areas, and then fighting these large automatons that similar actually to K1, but much larger and bulkier, with two massive tower shields on each arm, and they were doing combat with them, and you even see energy flying from the direction of Sparks. And then also them going down these stairs where you see this very sleek looking machine that almost was human-like in its appearance, but much larger, and them doing combat with that. And then you see Piper actually hitting the ground and going unconscious during the battle, and then the large dragonborn's scales flared bright red, bright red, bright red, and he actually takes his sword and he slits his hand with it, rubs it across his face, and then the entire screen just goes blazing red. And then his head shifts back and he goes,
"That is what I saw from when I was in the ethereal plane."
Oh.
Is this why you are broken?
"Yes. The intense heat melted most of my body."
Which I've been trying to fix very hard.
Who fixed you?
Who fixed me?
Yeah.
Well, my friend Hattori saved my life. He was very brave and he was injured. He was injured very badly. So badly that he had to retire.
He was the Draconian?
Yes.
mm-hmm.
The Dragonborn.
Yes, and you know Piper, after you came back, he actually managed to get you, when you guys came back, it was your parents that had managed to get the local clergy to come and heal the both of you the best they could. You bounced back just fine, but Hattori has not been the same since then, and it's been about 2 weeks since you've come back, and despite all the healing magic that they've done, and they actually have some very good healers in this time, for such a small village, they haven't been able to really help him beyond the surface wounds.
Yes, my parents actually had the clergy come by and fix us up, but Hattori is very bad off. He overextended his abilities in order to save myself and Sparks. He's very loyal.
Looking at K1, and your family was fighting her family?
So, would these, would the models that I saw in the vision, would I recognize any type of design?
Actually, yes. You would recognize them almost as older designs, even from you, that were used for war. These were much larger, like phalanx units that would basically work together to create shield walls and force enemies into places to where then the attack units could come around and just basically pinch them. In fact, units like yours would have even launched over those on top of the pinned foes to then just lay waste to them. But it was odd to see them fighting on their own, and they were fighting outside of their normal design for what you're used to. But again, they're older models, even compared to you, and you're an older model compared to Warforged, if you found any modern Warforged.
You could say somewhat related.
No, I said related. I didn't say somewhat. Just related. They were like your cousins, right?
Great cousins, perhaps.
More off of similar assembly lines.
Are you gonna attack us?
We don't plan on it.
So what's your function, K1?
My original function was for reconnaissance, assassination during the Temporal Wars.
Cool. Hey, I bet the
What are
party's
these
gonna
Temporal
start soon.
It was very badly damaged, and I was reprogrammed.
You were sort of like repurposed?
Yes, by Tito.
Oh. And you said that she was your caregiver. So what was your purpose then?
Mostly take care of things around the area, help the small village, and really learn what she had to teach, I suppose.
Did you like that better than being an assassin?
He kind of sits back a little bit and ponders. They both have their perks, but I've gotten the most reward out of protecting rather than destroying.
Huh, that's fascinating. I always wondered what constructs felt like whenever they were repurposed, if they ever missed their original purpose or if they molded into the new purpose. Well, I'm glad you like the new one better because I'm glad you're not an assassin. I mean, that makes me kind of nervous because, you know, no reason.
I would only ever attack someone if I was ordered by my creator or programmer.
Oh.
And since I am assuming my latest caregiver has passed on,
Well, she's missing.
I suppose that torch passes to you.
Me? Well, I don't know if I'm worthy of that.
You're the one that fixed me, are you not?
I did fix you, that's true. I did.
Are we going to go fight in the Temper Wars? Does that mean everyone has to get mad and go fight?
I think the Temporal Wars ended a long time ago, Chet.
A Temporal War. That's weird. I've never heard anything like that before.
It is weird. Oh, I don't think we need to fight anybody, but I was planning on making a trip across the continent at some point. I have some.
Me?
I have some revenge. I have some revenge to exact.
Okay. Well, I can help you with that. Me and him have a lot in common. Pointing at K1. We were both in the army.
You were in the army?
Yeah.
What'd you do in the army?
I was a scout.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. The Mad Baron always, every spring, he would have all of his men go out and fight, and I would scout for them.
Oh, that's interesting. What time is it about now?
It's about mid-afternoon. You know that the festivities are going to get started. In fact, I mean, from where you're at, you're a little far off, so you can't hear the people milling about, but you do know that you could start smelling the smells of, like, roasted meat. The rain has kind of stopped. It's still cloudy out, but that's never stopped the fawns from having a good old time. But you know that once the festivities start, they basically roast a bunch of meat, and they cook a bunch of food. The local, bards or musicians or whomever, they get together and they start playing music, and the fawns drink and eat and dance and have a good old time until they either pass out or the stars come up and, it's time to go to bed. And then the caravans move on and everybody moves on with their lives.
Uh-huh.
So it's getting, with the smell of the meats, that's how you can tell, because they're roasting. You can smell the roast lamb.
Well, do we want to go down to the festivities?
Oh wait, is Spark still awake?
Yeah, he just kind of, you can see him kind of like, he's looking over the parts that the Kender that Chet had cast off, and he's just kind of like looking him over, and he's gotten some of the other little automatons, and they've actually started to move over for him, and they're gathering up parts and bringing it up to him.
Okay. So I think I had I don't know if we talked about before about Piper like having made like some sort of like apparatus for him to like help him move around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she is gonna go and grab that.
Okay. And what sort of apparatus has she made?
It's sort of like a wheelchair that like hooks up to him that he's able to use so he can get around even though he doesn't have legs.
Okay.
In the meantime, because she's fixed him as best she could, but she hasn't really figured out a good way to like reconstruct his legs just yet. So she made him a little wheelchair.
Okay, so you'll see him kind of hop into that, and then he's going to actually use that to start moving about and actually getting the other bigger parts that the smaller, because a lot of the smaller automatons these aren't big enough to pick up some of the larger pieces, and he's going to be gathering those together over at the workbench, and you can see him, he's starting to get tools, and he's like, yes, this will do nicely, okay, perfect, yes, and he's just kind of starting to get to work.
Well, Sparks, I hope that this chair will do nicely for you. Sorry I couldn't do more. I tried.
That's okay, Piper. It's only been a limited amount of time.
I will fix your legs, though, one of these days.
I know.
So, who wants to go check out the festival?
Oh, I'll go. I love festivals. I really do. Why am I talking like you?
I don't know. Why?
Neither do I. I don't know.
Well, that's interesting. Do you like festivals?
Maybe it's like
K1?
I've never been to a festival before, but I think I might need an extra batch of oil on my legs. They don't seem to be moving.
Oh, let me get that for you right away. I have plenty of oil right over here, and I'll grab it right now.
She'll hop over to where she keeps all of her oil, like flasks and tankards and stuff, and she'll put oil into his joints so he can move and fix them up. Tim.
All right, yeah. Go ahead and roll me a tinker check. Sorry, I'm jotting down some notes while you guys are
It's
playing.
okay. 19 on the die, so that is 26.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, you take some oil and a little bit of grease, and you start getting into the joints. You start working them out, and you rolled real high, so it doesn't take you too long. And within a couple moments, you've got his legs working again, and he's able to move them around. And it's a little shoddy at first. So we'll say that any sort of dexterity checks you make for a little while until you it's like when you start up a car that hasn't ran in a while, you kind of need to run it hard a little bit to get the engine to clear out kind of deal, or to get everything kind of loosened up. So we'll say for the next hour or two, we'll say the next 2 hours, you're going to be running with a -1 on your dexterity modifier until everything gets worked out. Not really going to matter much, but just for story purpose. So just you're a little stiff in your movements, but you're kind of working it out, and it's getting better with every step.
And as he gets up, he kind of moves around the shop a little bit, notices the staff, and he'll walk over to it, reach out, pick it up, and investigate it just to make sure that it's the one that he thinks it is.
The one that they had with you.
Yes.
Yes, it is indeed the one that it's exactly the one that was left with you both right before you ended up being shut down.
Okay. So he's going to kind of put his hand towards the top of it, and it's going to glow a little bit, and it's originally was all wood, but you're going to start seeing some metal components come out of it a little bit, kind of towards the center, and it's going to detach apart, and then it's going to kind of almost like machine attach both parts to his forearms, and then kind of like build right into his arms.
Yeah. All right. So you all head out the shop then? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it's at this time, Kat, also your character is noticing the smell of roasting lamb and cooking vegetables. You can hear bands start to kind of tune their instruments. You can hear already some laughter and things like that. And it's getting to be about that time that the
I'm
fawns
definitely
of
using Ayer
Cliffsdale
to.
are getting
I'm
ready to
definitely
party.
using Ayer to scout the town, look through her eyes as well.
Oh
you know,
yeah,
just festive and
your companion can definitely see that they are milling about. They're setting up a little stand for the musicians to be on. They because of the water that's on the ground, they're laying some flat planks of wood down, so they got a little spot so that they can dance and have merriments. They're setting up little spots to sit down and eat and drink. Immediately you see people going to the one cart that's selling all the alcohol and things, and they're just grabbing casks and kegs and things, and they're hoisting them over to where they already set up a little stand. And some of them are going there, and others are going into the areas that they use for storage. And yeah, this is their time of year, and you know that it's about to get started. In fact, you already see a couple of them that have already been dipping into it and are starting to get a little lit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to head towards town, but kind of stay on the outskirts for a little bit until it gets to be a little bit more populated. And then when that happens, I'll use my disguise self to go back to the Elven Maiden and
Sure.
enter.
Sure. Okay. And so then you all come out and you start heading towards the town. You see the same thing that I just described, except not from a bird's eye view. And there, for the Kender, there is just all sorts of things going on. There's all sorts of people everywhere. You're hearing music. You are seeing fires. You're seeing the flare-ups from fat from lamb hitting the spits and then flaring up and sparks going everywhere. And it is just a visual medley. There are glasses, trinkets, baubles, broken little bits of glass on the ground, everything that to your heart's desire.
Yeah.
It's like a kid with it's like putting a 5-year-old in the middle of Toys R Us and turning your back to him for a second,
Except the Toys R Us is full of broken glass.
Exactly. But it's pretty color and it glints.
Oh, what? Yeah, picking it up, checking it out, looking at it through the glass of fire, through the glass of paper.
Yeah, one of them's the bottle. The one you pick up's the bottom of a bottle, so it's bent and it's concave slightly. So as you're looking through it, it warps how everybody looks, kind of like a funhouse mirror slightly. She
Hold on
fall
one
off her.
She's in the box.
Oh jeez. She got it and she dug it out. Got 2 Kenders.
We should have called her.
Just looking at the staff that is now kind of grafted to K1's arm, and want some more oil? Hand him one of Piper's oil flasks.
Sorry.
Well,
Hank,
thank you.
Leave it.
You're welcome. I thought you could use it. I'm getting something to drink. And yeah, he's going to head over, grab something to drink, and slap down a steel coin, and just kind of turn around, walk off.
Yeah. So you slap down the steel coin. Were you getting like some ale, some wine, some water, some milk?
Ale.
Ale? Yeah, you get an ale, and it's a really good ale. They're like the ones that you'd snuck when the caravan stopped off in the city a few days out from the mountain. And the fawns, they don't seem to be taking any money for it anyways, but the one looks at the steel coin that you slap down and just kind of is like, and then kind of bites it a little bit and shrugs and sets it in their pocket and not sure what to think of it, and just more baffled at the fact that there's now a halfling walking around the village when they hadn't seen one before, and at least at this point in the day. And so since you grab a drink and you wander off, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
My greatest roll.
Yes.
Oh, that's a natural 20, so that's a 19.
Nice. As you're kind of drinking and you're walking around, you see sitting at one of the benches the large red dragonborn that you had seen in Sparks' vision that he projected onto the wall. And he's just sitting there and he's kind of gnawing on a leg of mutton, and he's got a big, massive pint. It's more like a quart of ale, and he's sipping on it, and he's just sitting there, and he looks a little more pale than from what you'd saw in the projection on the wall. And he hasn't seemed to have taken notice to you at all, but he's just sitting there kind of minding his own business, and that's the one thing that sticks out to you the most. And you also notice that there is a large bird of prey that's kind of like flying over the town, and it's not in a hunting pattern, it's just kind of like lazily circling around, kind of peeking at everything.
Eagle.
Yeah, very large golden eagle. And Piper and K1, go ahead and roll your perception checks, please.
Oh, 22.
That's a natural one.
Piper, you notice that your little Kender friend has wandered off and you have no idea where he is. And K1, you're just kind of overwhelmed by all the things going on, having just woken up, about 10 minutes ago. And I'm sorry I cut you off, Dan. Go right ahead. Go back to you real quick.
He's going to plop down next to Hattori and looking at the eagle through the glass. And, well, you looked a lot better looking through the robot's eyes.
And he just kind of, and he looks down at you. What do you mean I look better through the robot's eyes?
Your neck was all glowing red, and you were destroying robots left and right, and you were saving everyone.
What do you know of that?
I saw it on the wall, and look around for Piper.
Saw it on the wall, little... Oh, are you a friend of Piper's? Did you come with the caravan?
Yeah, Piper bought me.
She bought you?
Yeah.
That does not sound like Piper.
She did, then she set me free.
Oh, that does sound like Piper. What is your name, little man?
Oh, Chet Hasselman. How are you doing? And out comes the hand.
And his big, massive clawed hand. He kind of looks at your little hand, and he kind of, in a thumb and two fingers, he takes your hand gently. He doesn't want to, you can still feel the strength behind his hand. And he shakes your hand.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know the custom and do the same thing to his finger.
He just kind of, he shrugs. Shit, I did not see a halfling with the caravan.
No, I was a robot earlier.
I'm afraid I do not follow.
It's okay. I run pretty fast, even though I have short legs.
I can believe that. Well, if you're a friend of Piper's, you're a friend of mine.
Okay.
And he'll take his mug and just clink it against yours. Alright, Piper, K1, what are you doing?
Does Piper notice that K1 is overwhelmed?
Yeah, you got pretty good on your perception check, so not only did you notice... I just thought it was funny that you noticed that the Kender vanished.
Yeah.
So not only did you notice that the Kender is already gone, again, like a kid at Toys R Us, you notice also the large golden eagle that's circling because you rolled really well. But again, it's not in any sort of predatory flight. It just seems to be kind of checking things out from what you can tell. But yes, you definitely notice that K1's just kind of like, whoa, because all of these things are going on around him. And he's been, from what he told you, it sounds like he has been inactive for almost a millennium. Sorry. Is she climbing your leg?
She's attacking my foot!
You let that kitten do whatever she wants to.
It hurts.
It's very painful.
Oh wait, is it the tattoo foot?
No,
Or
it's
the
the
tattoo
other
leg?
one.
Her favorite
you
thing
let
to
that
do
kitten
now
do
is to
whatever
jump
she
off the
wants.
top of the back of the couch and
You
then
can see
grab
her
onto my
Tim's
back.
camera.
Oh no, I
You can
here.
Anyway.
Oh no, yep, she's attacking your pink sock.
Anyway, so Piper's just
jeez.
going to sort of like pat K1 on the arm and
Just stay close to me and everything will be okay.
then she's gonna like look around to see where the Kender went, and she's also gonna look around and see if she can see Hattori with her.
Sure,
perception
we'll
check.
let your check ride, but it takes you about 5 minutes or so because again you're outside. Bimble's shop's a little bit outside of the village. So as you start coming into the village, and we're going to carry your check, I'm not going to make you roll 1,000 checks. You do see Hattori, and you see that your new friend Chet has also found Hattori, and they are sitting next to each other just as Hattori kind of clinks his glass over to him and takes a sip, and then takes another bite of his mutton. And you also see that everything's just about set up for the festivities. There are already a few fawns that are starting to get the drink on.
Right.
And there's already the band. The band's no longer warming up. They are now getting ready to start playing, and there's already a couple people out on the dance floor tapping their feet. In fact, you actually see your parents out there, and they're having a cute little dance together. But they're old, so they're not bouncing around as much as they used to. But, yeah.
So Piper is going to tug on K1, and she's gonna go over and sit next to Hattori and Chet.
Oh, Piper,
Hattori!
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite well. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling better. I see you made new friends.
Yeah, they came to my shop. The guy who was the caravan had them, and I fixed up this guy, K1, and this guy was he was disguised very badly as a robot, but
I was stuck.
he was stuck in a helmet, and I got him out. So
It was very
K1
nice
is
of you.
like K1 is looking around and looks down at when you say his name. This all seems very dangerous.
oh, it's fun. Don't worry too much about it.
And you see Tori kind of like lean forward and he looks at you a little bit. And then he leans back in his chair. A Warforged. Ah, it has been a long time since I've seen a Warforged. But I've never seen one like you.
You guys, this is Hattori. He is the best.
And yeah, and you all see that he's sitting there and he's got this large staff that's just kind of like, it's huge. It's a very, very big staff that's leaning up against the bench right to his left. And at his right hip, actually, you can see also that there is a very large, long, curved blade in a very ornate, with a very ornate hilt and a very ornate sheath. That's at his hip, and Piper knows what that is. And actually, it's something that you would have both recognized from the image that you saw on the wall. It was the blade that he took and used to slice his hand before he spread it across his mouth, and then the screen went red. So, Piper, are you still on your quest for revenge?
Yes, I have to find Misha, and make sure she doesn't do to anybody else what she did to Bimble. Oh, Gimble, not Bimble.
No, Bimble died an honorable death.
He did. Yes.
Gimble died a sad death. I still wish you would change your mind. Harvesk is a terrible city, full of thieves, murderers, criminals. You do not want to go there. One as
Oh, is that where we're going?
Yes.
one as innocent as you would get chewed up and spit out.
Oh, Hattori, you're so funny.
Hmm.
You've always been right about many things.
Yes.
And I should listen to you.
Yes.
But I always have the best outcomes when I make choices based on what I feel in my gut.
You are very smart, Piper, but sometimes you are not wise.
That's true. That is fair. That is fair. Hattori, you are very wise. But
Yes.
you're also smart, but not as smart as
Yes.
me. But you're also smart.
This is true. This is true.
What are you... I'm not planning on leaving anytime soon, but are you staying here with the funds?
I don't know yet. I am still healing from our battle in the ethereal plane.
Hattori was very brave, and he saved me in Sparks.
I saw.
That's right, you did.
I did what I had to.
K1 will walk behind Piper over to Hattori. You said you were injured. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your pain?
He just kind of looks at you. Pain? I don't feel pain. It is weakness, I feel. My strength has left me. If...
Hold still.
Yeah.
And my deal turned off. So like he'll raise his arms up and that staff will release out of his arms and it'll reattach, and he'll extend it out towards Hattori, and he will use one charge, and it'll light up, and he will cast a level 1 cure wounds on him.
So you pull the staff out and you point it right at him, and the staff goes right over the bridge of his elongated, dragonborn nose, and he doesn't even flinch. He's just looking at you, and then you fire off the spell, and you go ahead and roll it.
It's okay. He's a good robot.
It's 10 points.
And he just sits there, and you see the magic wash over him, and you know the spell worked. But the color is still drained from him, and he just nods.
Thank you. But I'm afraid that is not what ails me. It was sparks that showed them this, Piper?
Yes.
Well, if you saw what I did, I burned some of my own life force to enhance my breath weapon to fight off that thing. And it drained my strength. I hope with time it will return, but for now, it's been 2 weeks and nothing.
Maybe.
It's okay. I'm sure it'll get better.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the body is an amazing way of healing itself.
See, you're very big, and it takes very big people a long time to get better. See, I'm very small, so it takes me less time because I'm small. There's less of me to have to heal.
That's good logic.
Yeah, I know, huh? And he is very big, so it'll take a little bit longer than most people.
He is very big.
I hope you are right, Chet. And Piper. And thank you, Warforged. What did you say his name was?
K1.
K1.
Well, that's what we're calling him. His name is longer than that, but...
Yeah, and there were numbers in it. There aren't numbers in names.
My designation is K1L-80T.
See, there he goes again. He's making things up.
Yes.
Possibly some emotional support. And he's
You
gonna
have a staff. You can
he's
do
gonna
that.
he's gonna extend his arms to offer a hug.
To Hattori?
Yeah.
Hattori just stares at him. He goes,
Thank you, but I do not
Group hug!
I
And
tried
just
to
hug
hug
him.
him once.
oh, and Chet hugs Hattori.
Yeah.
You just see
Group hug.
Piper will join the group hug, but she will go kind of behind Hattori because last time she tried to hug him, his breath kind of singed her dreads a little bit. So she.
when he flared his nose.
Yeah.
he just kind of sits there, and as everybody just comes in and hugs him, and you can see the smoke just kind of rolling out of his nostrils, and Piper knows that. He just kind of grumbles.
Thank you, but I do not like hugs.
He doesn't. He hates them.
Yes.
Why didn't anybody warn me?
I will put that information in your file.
Thank you.
You have... So what? So you take notes on everybody's stuff? That's very studious. of you.
He's a peeping Tom.
I've never heard this term before, peeping Tom.
Maybe we could name him that. I like K1 better.
Why would you want to call him peeping?
So Piper is a fawn in nature, so she sees the booze, and she goes and she just starts drinking it. As she's talking to them, she just starts drinking booze because she's a fawn and she likes to party.
Yeah.
As awkward as she is, she's still a fawn at heart.
And it's about this time, Kat, your character notices that the town is now packed. There are all the fawns have come out and they're partying. The humans and half-orcs and half-elves and the other people all that were running the caravans, they've locked up their stuff and they have joined in on the festivities, and the whole town's just having a good old time. And so now would be the perfect opportunity for you to slip in if you so wanted to.
Yes, I will cast Disguise Self on myself. Go back to the Elven Maiden and slip into the town and head towards the musicians. I'd love to see the musicians.
Sure. You see there's about 6 fawns on this musician stand. One is playing a lyre, the other one's got a nice little fiddle. There's one that's got some drums that they're banging away on. Another one has a washboard, and they've got little metal things on their little thimbles almost on their fingertips, and he's scratching away at it. He's got a little makeshift band. And the 6th person actually doesn't have a chair up there. He's just got an empty jug and he's just kind of blowing on it. You don't think that he's a part of it. You think he just kind of joined in and they were like, whatever, it's a party kind of deal,
He's my
you know?
favorite.
Yeah. And they are They are playing all sorts of music. It is very jovial. Everybody's having a good old time and just dancing around. And there are drunk people everywhere. Surprisingly, unlike most parties that you see in cities and stuff like that, not a single fight, not a single altercation. This is all just very goodwill people having a good time in the village. You can tell that they all know each other very well, and they all actually enjoy this time of year. Nobody wants to spoil it with any sort of violence or anything like that. Even the half-orcs are just having a good old time.
Orcs.
You're half-orcs. You only have to hate half of them.
Look at the glass half full.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She'll
the half she
Just-
has to hate is on the inside, but she's got to get there first.
Gotta get to the warm jelly on the inside.
She'll just find a good position, like sort of away from the dancing crowd, but where she can see the musicians very well, and just kind of watch everybody dancing, and maybe she'll grab a drink and something to eat.
Oh, yeah. That'll be no problem you grabbing any of that. Nobody charges you anything. They're all just having a good time. What are the rest of you doing now that the dancing and the laughing and the joking and everything just kind of started? The everything. The party.
Piper is drinking and she's gonna dance
Nice.
once she gets drunk.
Chet's actually pulling around from the backside, what couldn't be seen before, his belt. And it's not actually a belt like most people wear. It looks more like a rope that's been wrapped around his waist. As he pulls it around, there are about 15 small belt pouches connected to that belt. And he's starting to go through them, just dropping everything on the ground, seeing if he has anything new in there.
Okay, let's see here. Where's my percentile? There it is. You said how many things is he grabbing out of there?
Right now, he's just going to grab a handful of stuff.
Sure. All right, 36. So the first thing he starts grabbing and he pulls out of there, it's things that were left over from the little getup that he was stuck in. There's a random bolt from the helmet that kind of came out that he popped out, which was part of the reason why he pinched and got stuck on his head. There was a little sliver of metal. There's some leather straps, things like that. The sticky part, the needle part of the belt buckle itself that's strapped there, like the part that you loop through, you stick through the actual belt and then hook on there. Let's see what else you get out there. A few silver pieces that one of the caravan owners had dropped on the ground. Half of a bottle. Let's see. Ooh, that. You find actually it was a strange little device. You said you were looking for anything to help with the music?
Anything new that I had found, picked up along the way.
Anything new that you had found. So on this roll right here, on this thing that you'd found this odd half-finished device in Bimble's shop. And you're not sure what it does, but when you hold it like this, it's got a little metal piece that sticks out, and depending on how you squeeze it, you can go wow, 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 and make a really interesting noise that kind of, in your head at least, when you play it right, plays along with the music. Kind of like, those mouth harps where they're like wow, 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 like that. Kind of like that, but you use your fingers with it.
Oh no, it's gonna be so annoying!
Actually, it sounds really cool.
Yep.
In the hands of the Kender.
What? Dong, 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 dong. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he starts doing that along with the music, and yeah, so we'll see, because that one was a nice roll on there. So I would assume that's when you're like, oh, I found what I wanted, and then you just start going along with that. Yeah, perfect. And Piper, what are you doing?
Piper's drinking and dancing.
Drinking and dancing. K1, what are you doing?
K1 would stand there and observe everything, and I would imagine at some point some of the younger fawns would probably come start poking fun at him and running around. And
some of the children are kind of they're used to gadgets somewhat, but they've never seen one as big as you because Bimble was a gnome, so he was shorter, so he tended to make his automatons his size. And you're what? You said you were 5.5, 6 feet tall?
Yeah, just about 6 foot.
Just about 6 foot tall. So you're aside from Hattori, you're the biggest thing in the village that they've seen. Well, that and the half orcs, but the half orcs, they see them every 6 months. They've never seen anything like you before, and they're giggling and they're kind of prodding at you with their fingers. Nothing malicious, more curiosity kind of thing.
Oh, little fun children.
And they're like, They're like running around him, and he's like slowly trying to turn and keep up, keep up with them, and they're.
And so now they think it's a game. So now they're trying to run faster than you as you're turning with them, and they keep going and they keep going until they start getting dizzy, and then they fall on the ground on their backs, and they're just laughing, and then the last one that's still up's just kind of skipping around you, going, ha 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 ha, you all fell down, and I didn't, which means I win.
Yeah. Then of course any of them that fall down, like I walk over to and it's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your pain?
And they're just like, what?
It's like,
My butt's at a 4. Don't say butt. That's not nice.
What? I do have a butt. I fell on my butt.
Oh my god, I love it. They're so blessed.
Oh. And the night goes on, and unless there's anything else specific that you guys wanted to do for the party in town.
Do we see the elf?
Yeah, you do see the elf. She's up over by, and actually you recognize her as the one that always ends up leading the caravan. She never really stops to talk to you much. You did hear her giggle at you today, which was the first kind of interaction that you've ever had with her. And she's kind of parked herself up by the musicians, where the Kender is currently kind of prancing around playing with his little thing with the tune of the music within about the distance of them. And the musicians think that's great. They're like, ah, yeah, you know, and they're clapping along with them, and there's a couple of the fawns that are kind of like prancing and dancing around and following the Kender and clapping as he's going around. But you see her up there by them as well. She's kind of, doing the like back and the leaning against the wall, school dance kind of deal, sit, watching everybody by herself kind of deal. The loner, so to speak.
Is Piper drunk?
Roll me, how many drinks has Piper had at this
A
point?
lot. She's been just...
So many.
She's
So,
been
here.
slamming them.
She's been slamming them. Roll me a d8.
7.
You've had 7 drinks so far. Roll me,
Yeah!
just to save time, roll me 2 Constitution saves.
Well, I get advantage on my con saves.
Not anymore. That's 7. You've had 7 drinks, and we're speeding this up.
Okay, so
You're not rolling 14 d20s.
my first con save is a 19, and my second one's a 15.
Okay, yeah, you got a pretty good buzz going. You're fun. You can hold your liquor pretty well, but you're on your 7th drink, and this is the good stuff that only comes into the village twice a year, which is why the fawns have a party, because normally you drink your wine, which is good. It tastes good, but it's not, potent.
So Piper
You have
brought
spirits and
something-
strong ale.
Piper gets into her handy haversack,
Mm-hmm.
and she pulls out a device that she invented, and it's basically kind of like a beer hat, but it fits. It fits on her horns, and so she can pour ale into it, and she can drink ale.
On the go.
Yeah, on the go.
Oh, man.
And basically it keeps it circulating through, and it's just she drinks it.
And you head over to the elf, you said? Or you're just
She
drinking
just
out of your...
waves.
Oh, you waves? So yeah, you
She's
see...
on the dance. She's dancing with everybody, so.
You see the odd fawn with this weird apparatus hooked to her
She
horns
has 2
filled with
tubes
ale.
coming out of her mouth.
With tubes coming out. And there is nobody else in town like this. And you see some of the kids
She's
kind of
doing dorky
giggling and
dancing.
pointing at her, but she doesn't care. She's prancing around with the Kender and with everybody else, having a good old time.
She'll wave back, just kind of hello, and remember about her compass, and then just kind of start watching Piper and starting to try to find the Warforged too, and looking for the small automaton.
Yeah, roll
No way.
The not
That is
Kender.
not
never
roll
gonna
a
find it.
perception check.
On.
perception.
Yeah.
That's a 14.
So it takes you a little bit of looking, but he's not hard to miss in this town. And you see that children have been circling around him and playing, and he's just kind of harmlessly turning with them. And then when they fall down, he leans over and kind of has this curious look on his head, and they giggle and laugh, and then they pop up, and then he kind of gets back up, and then they start it again. And to them, it's a game, with little kids. Once they think, oh, do it again, and that's what they're doing to him right now. Except he's an automaton, so he'll never run out of energy.
Right.
And you don't see the little robot anywhere.
Here.
But you don't remember seeing a little halfling either, but now there's one here.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure. Yeah. Do an insight or an intelligence check.
Can I do a performance check to see
That's
how good
this.
Piper's dancing is?
Sure.
16
Damn it.
for insight.
It's a very interesting coincidence. You're not 100% certain because, I mean, have you ever? You come from a remote village. You've never heard of somebody
Right.
pulling off
No.
something like that. And also, Dan, go ahead, give me a
The
performance
ultimate
check as
of
well
heists.
for Chet's music playing with his hand harp.
I got a 17 on my performance check.
Okay. Yeah, you're dancing pretty good. You have to kind of hold back a little bit so that you don't slosh beer out of your hat.
Oh, she made it with she made it with the purpose of being able to dance.
Oh, so like it's like she pours the beer in and then seals it?
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is it sealed or are they gyroscopes?
they're like gyroscopes.
Oh my god.
So like it sloshes around, but it never spills.
Perfect.
For perfect party consumption.
Well, until you bounce and then it still kind of plops out because there's no gyroscope for bouncing. You haven't gotten the springs quite right yet.
It's the number one party foul.
Too many inconsistencies with your jumping.
Bounce.
I am going to start heading towards K1
Okay.
just to kind of overhear what he's doing with the children.
Sure. And
what it's doing.
you hear exactly what he had just said,
Yeah.
on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel?
Probably several times.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And every time he says it, the kids don't care. They think it's hilarious. Actually, that is the right term for a young fawn, isn't it? Wouldn't it be a kid just like a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. The kids just laugh every time he asks the question, and the first couple times the one kid kept saying my butt's a 4, but then eventually he got tired of that one and they just kind of giggle and get up and they go and they keep going and they go, how come you never get dizzy? And one of them finally plops down because they've been spinning around so much they're just very, very dizzy. Yeah. And the festivities go on through the night unless there's anything else anybody wanted to do.
No.
The night is uneventful other than the good times, and then eventually a few fawns and people fall asleep out under the stars. The clouds have kind of parted up a little bit and it's getting nice out again. The caravan owners have gone back to their caravans, to the little living quarters they have set up in there to sleep there. Joey and Richie, Carl's sons, have kind of just like propped themselves up against the wagon wheels and they're just kind of sitting there slurring their words and clinking drinks together and they're like, this is the best trip of the year and we get to do it twice. These fawns are nice people. I like these fawns and you like these fawns. Yeah, and they clink together and eventually they pass out too. And where do you all end up for the night in the village?
Piper goes back to her workshop and she offers to K1 and Chet to stay at the workshop if they would like. And she doesn't know if the elf has anywhere to stay, but if she would like, she could stay at the workshop too.
She would rather stay out of town. But she appreciates Piper's forwardness in asking.
She just offers her home to anybody who doesn't have one because she's got many spaces for people to sleep.
Yeah.
That's how fawns
I'll,
are. They're very hospitable.
I'll see you in the morning. I really don't like sleeping indoors.
Oh, okay. Well, good night.
I have a camp outside of the town if you'd like to camp near there.
All right, that works. I can. Yeah. Hi, I'm Chet. Yeah, out comes the hand.
Hi, I make maps.
Hi, make maps. How are you doing?
Maps.
I'm doing pretty
Big
good.
maps.
We should leave the town soon, though.
Okay.
My time is
You know,
running out.
I'm
My
really
time is
good
running out.
at reading maps. Let's go. Can you show me some of the maps? I'm pretty good at reading them, and I've made a few in my time too.
Can I do an insight check to see if my maps are safe thing?
Sure.
That's 15. No, 16.
Yeah. He just seems like a very friendly, skinny halfling to you.
Okay. I'll start leading him out of the town and showing him the few maps that I do have on my person at all times.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And then checking them out, handing her my maps that have nothing to do with anything in this world.
Interesting.
He is handing you
I've
maps
never
to
seen
places.
these lands.
Yeah, places that because you've in your quest to try and find different maps and things like that. I'm sure you've done a little research, and with some cartographies and stuff, you've never seen anything like these places ever. You think he probably made them up, but they're very nice.
The way that peninsula, that wouldn't. Okay. About halfway back to the camp, I turn into a furbolg and immediately grow 2 feet and 2 inches.
Oh my God! Did you eat something that made you swell up?
No, I just don't like. I mean, it's just easier to not be myself in the town.
Okay, so you're not bloated or anything.
No, I'm quite thin actually under all these layers of clothes.
Okay, you're some kind of. How tall are you? Kind
Last
of
I
measuring
checked,
to where he is on her.
I'm about 2 of you, I think.
I'm 3'2".
I'm a little over 2 of you.
Okay, well,
You probably go up to her
if you look
knees.
at this map here, that giant sea right there, that's where the gods threw a mountain down. Yeah, they pissed everybody pissed them off, so they threw a mountain on everybody.
That's so interesting. Please tell me more.
No, it's called the Blood Sea because of something in it. I think it's the sand in it. I'm not sure, but I've been told that it's the sand that it makes the entire thing look red. And there are Minotaur pirates everywhere in it.
You are quite the storyteller.
I've seen them.
That I'm sure you have. It's a very vivid imagination.
What?
Tell me more.
Oh, okay. Well, well, if you come down to the west here, that's where the Knights of the Old Gods. That's where they congregate, and they have all kinds of castles, and there aren't any more. There aren't any dragons anymore. All the dragons died out a long time ago, and
no dragons.
No, they all died out a long time ago.
You haven't seen a dragon recently?
No, I've never seen one. I was born. I was only born like maybe 20 years ago, or maybe a little more than that. I don't remember. My mom didn't really even know she was pregnant until I fell out.
You fell out.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and then the villagers had to chase her down to give me back to her because she didn't know I was hers.
You literally fell out.
Yeah, I fell out.
Oh.
And she, for a long time she would forget me in every city we were in. But the villagers were always really nice, and they would always bring me back.
Oh wow, that's so sad.
What do you mean? I got to meet everybody.
That's a great perspective, buddy. And she just touches his shoulder.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Are you hungry, or do you want? I have a 2-person tent. If you want to sleep under that, it's been a bit rainy.
Can I sleep in the tent? Because under it, you'd probably roll over and I would suffocate.
Well, there's no floor to it, so under it isn't.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine then.
I'm crying.
Oh. All right, so the night goes on. You all
make us some tea before bed.
Yeah, you all have an uneventful rest, no problem.
Piper snores very loud.
Although Mapmaker might have a little problem sleeping, depending upon when eventually Chet ever goes to sleep, if Chet sleeps. And then comes the next morning. It's about dawn.
Sometime in the night, K1 would have gone over to where that book was and flipped through to try to find information on Teetle.
Sure. So you find the book and you flip to it, and you flip and you flip and you flip and you flip, and then you find a page, and it gives you a very brief history of Teetle. Teetle was a very mysterious person for the most part. And other than the key points that Piper had pointed out to you, that Teetle was known to be a druid, Teetle was also known to dabble in artifice, and that Teetle was working on some sort of project that had gotten wind, that certain wizards had gotten wind of, and they wanted to find out more about it. And Teetle basically told them no. And one of them was a more underhanded person that specifically wanted it and was suspected in Title's disappearance, but nobody was ever able to prove anything. And his name was, what was his name? I am sorry. His name was Fedran. Fedran. Whiteman.
And he's gonna slightly open the chest cavity and look at the glowing
Mm-hmm. And it's pulsing.
and
What's
close
that
it
like?
back up. And he's gonna flip through the rest of the book, looking for any other mention of what she had created.
That was the only mentioning of her in that book, and the only thing it mentioned that she created was that it didn't say that technically that she had created anything. It just said that she was working on something that had gained the eye of many people, and really the reason why any sort of information about her came out was because of word getting out about this secretive combination of magic and artifice that many people wanted to get their hands on, because at the time there was still wars going on, and many sides were trying to get an advantage any way they could. So a lot of people suspected that it was a bit of espionage, so to speak, that was Title's reason for vanishing. But no one has ever to prove anything, and nothing ever turned up about Title afterwards.
After that, he will put the book back exactly where it was, and then just kind of stand in the corner and just watch for the rest of the night.
Okay.
The town is called Ulasil, by the way.
Ulasil?
The weird town.
Thank you.
It's in my notes. I just saw it. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Ulasil, I knew it. Oh, thank you.
Tim,
Yes.
before I go to bed, can I spend a spell slot to cast Good Berry so I have berries for the morning?
Absolutely. Absolutely, and if there's anything anybody else wanted to do before they went to bed, now would be the time to declare it. Otherwise, we will go ahead and say that the night went on and uneventful, and it is now morning.
Piper just went to sleep. She was drunk AF.
Okay. And Akani did his thing. Cool. So, the night goes on. The sun begins to rise. The chickens begin to crow. The roosters begin to crow in the morning.
The chickens crow.
The chickens crow and the roosters cry and lay eggs. Everything's backwards on this mountain. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, the roosters crow, and the town is starting to stir up. The fawns are moving about their day, no problem, as if there wasn't a party the night before. Some of the caravan drivers look a little worse for wear, and they're kind of nursing a headache, drinking a strong pot of black coffee that they had. They set up a little fire on the road, just a little mini one to put a pot on and brew some coffee and things like that. And they're getting ready to go. Map Maker, that it's about time that they're going to be wanting to head out. I'm assuming most likely Chet's a light sleeper. Yeah, so that Map Maker's starting to stir early in the morning. Piper's an early riser anyways, so K1, you'll notice that Piper gets up fairly early as well. Piper's not having any issue with hangovers or anything like that. Sparks and the one thing that you did notice throughout the night, K1, is that Sparks, like you, doesn't sleep and just keeps moving. He's been moving around the shop all night, and he had been taking these random parts that Chet had disrobed, so to speak, as it was revealed that he wasn't actually any sort of automaton, and was beginning to fashion them into the outer shape of what looks like a lower torso, but hollow. And so the caravan driver's getting ready to go, and let's see. Go ahead and roll me Chet and Map Maker. Go ahead and roll me perception checks as I'm assuming you're coming back into town to get ready to leave.
That's a 9. I'm too busy packing up my camp.
Do you hear that?
5. I'm just
Margo trying to open the
endlessly
door.
chattering. 5. I'm just endlessly chattering at Map Maker.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very politely nodding, encouraging, and
Okay.
not listening.
And Hope had to step away because Margo likes to try to open doors with her
No, she
claws.
was stuck in the bedroom.
Oh, she was stuck in the bedroom. What are you doing, Piper? And K1.
Piper is. She gets up super early. She is working on legs for Sparks.
Okay. Roll me a tinker check.
Plus 9. Oh, that is a 23.
23?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you notice that Sparks has done a lot of the work throughout the night for the outer shell for his lower torso. And, in the morning, is you're working on the internal piecings that would eventually go to Philip. But it's taking you a bit longer than it would have took Bimble because,
Still a scrub.
well, Bimble specialized in things like Sparks and like K1, and you specialize in tinkering and little gadgets. So it's outside of your normal wheelhouse, so it takes you a little bit longer. And you're making progress. You think it's going to take you a bit longer to finish it. And, Sparks, and the one thing that you do notice is that you're going to need, you're low on a specific type of metal. For it, you need a little bit of mithril for the inner workings of it.
Okay.
Because it's light enough and strong enough that it won't weigh him down. And that's what Bimble had always used on Sparks' parts anyways. And you do remember that the second from the front cart was selling different metals. You knew Hattori had actually prior spoken interest that he was hoping that they were going to have certain metals, including adamantine and mithril.
Okay.
And that the carts were going to be leaving probably sometime after breakfast around 7 or 8 o'clock. And right now, well, just for time-wise, but we'll say right now it's about 6 in the morning.
Okay. So do I know where I can get mithril?
Again, you know that Hattori had that Hattori had some interest in also obtaining some of those metals.
Oh, okay.
And that the one cart did come with certain metals, and that's where Bimble usually got his. Was he would get those metals from that cart.
So she will go to see if that cart is still there.
Yeah, and they are still there. You see the elf from earlier. I'm assuming Chet's somewhere within the vicinity of the cart, or in the cart, or under the cart, or on one of the horses.
Coffee.
He's sitting there drinking coffee with the other ones. Okay, so yeah, you see Chet sitting there drinking coffee with Joey and Richie. And Carl's just kind of sitting on the front of the cart, kind of rubbing his head like, I need to hurry up. I got other places to stop. Besides that little bum town. Oh, God, I got reports that we got to avoid there. It's going to make my trip twice as long.
What bum town?
The bum town at the bottom of the mountain that we usually go through with the weirdos. The one that you said they got the statue of Bimble.
Ulasil?
Yeah, that place.
It's not a bum town. It's a nice town.
Well, it was a bum town. Now it's a nice town. It's been a bum town for 20 years. Now it's a nice town. It takes me a little while to remember these things. But, I received word when we were going into the town. When we were coming this way, we passed some people that, I don't really want to pass on my way back through, and they were heading to Ulasil.
Oh. Well, what kind of people?
I don't know. They were asking us some questions about the place. They wanted to know, what kind of things were going on. They said they had one of those wizard guys with them, and he said he felt some sort of surge of magical power, and they were investigating it, looking to get some sort of artifact. I don't know. I told them it was a bum town. There ain't no reason to go there, but they didn't believe me. They had some shady fellows with them. The usual plot that you hope that you don't have to deal with on the road.
Yeah. Well, do you have any mithril in your cart?
I don't, but, back there on the cart over there, they do.
She'll go check out the metal cart.
Sure.
Do they have any mithril?
And he does. He's got a couple bars of mithril. Let's see, what does mithril sell for?
Okay, everybody.
I think...
by K1.
Let's see if I am not mistaken. Isn't mithril like 50 gold
He
a
is
pound?
most grateful.
Something like that. Something like, yeah. So he's got a couple bars of mithril. And they said that this, they're trying to unload some stuff before they get to the next town. He tells you that that he sells it at about 50 gold a pound.
Okay. Yeah, Piper doesn't have any money, so.
Chet's going with Piper. What's mithril?
Mithril is a special kind of metal that I need to fix sparks.
Oh, you need to make sparks with it.
Well, remember that little robot that showed us the vision yesterday?
The one with the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His name is Sparks.
Okay, yeah, climb me up in the cart. Okay, what kind is mithril?
Well, she'll show him which one mithril is.
She's like, well, that one right there.
How many bars do I need?
You think you're gonna need at least about 10 pounds of mithril to make down into the wiring and things that you're gonna need for that. At which point, because Chet just kind of hops into the cart, the owner of said cart is like, whoa, what are you doing there, little guy? And it's a half elf, and he just kind of like grabs you by the arms and like lifts you like you would a little kid. He just picks you up and he sets you on the ground. Oh, that's not. You don't need to be going in there. That's where I go. If you need me to get something for you, I'll get you for you, but you gotta pay for it.
Well, yeah.
Are you? How many pounds of mithril do you have?
Oh, we still got about 25, 30.
How much?
That big dragon guy bought a few pounds off us the other day.
Okay.
The red one?
Yeah, that one.
Did he say what he was doing with it?
I don't ask those kind of questions. He had the money, I had the stuff.
Okay. How much longer are you gonna be here?
We're leaving, Hey, Carl! What? When are we leaving? Like an hour!
Okay, so how much for 10 pounds of mithril?
That'll be 500 gold.
F. Okay. Well, I will be back.
And she's gonna go find a toy.
What kind of metal is this? A random one I picked up.
Let's see. Oh, jeez. He goes, oh, give me that! And it was a bar of gold. Well, like it was a little bar of gold. It wasn't like a big, because those are like, very heavy. But you'd picked up about a 2-pound bar of gold. Just give me that. And
You didn't have to take it. I wasn't going to steal. I'm not a thief.
All right, you go ahead and you go on with your with the weird one, and we'll be fine here, okay? And you see he's starting to close up his cart, and then he looks at you real quick, and he picks you up and he shakes you to see if he hears any other jingling.
Whoa!
Oh, there's glass jingling, spare metal parts jingling. My pouches sounding like bells. Yeah.
Do I hear this?
Roll me a perception
As I'm
check.
walking away? Because Piper will not stand for that.
Hey, what are you doing? Why are you shaking me?
17 on my perception.
Yeah, you hear him. He's got him up. He's not like violently shaking him. He's just like, wait a minute, and he's just kind of like shaking him a little bit, and he's listening. He's like, all right. And he sets you down. He's like, just don't grab things. I will grab the things and hand them. You don't need to climb into my cart and hand them. That's not how these things work.
Piper just
You say
narrows
so.
her eyes.
All right, you go on there. And you just kind of
Are you
like,
sure?
yeah, he is. Yeah, and he puts the gold back in the cart and shutters it again.
Yeah, just head on over to Piper.
The small
wasn't very
creature
nice.
the small creature did invade his place of business.
He did, that's true, but it's not nice to pick up people and shake them.
No, it's not. I could have dropped this. And yeah, keep walking.
What does he have?
You pull out another piece of metal.
No, it's the mithril I never set down.
Oh no.
Let's see.
He told me to leave.
He did tell you to leave, that's true, and you were holding it, so you technically didn't steal it.
Can someone give this back to him? Because I don't think he's going to let me come back.
And it looks
Hold
like
on.
the bar that the piece that he has. I just rolled to check to see how big of a piece he got. He looks like he got about a 2.5 pound chunk of mithril.
He's going to palm it and start walking back to the merchant. Mister, hey,
And he just kind of turns and looks at me and goes, yes?
how much would you give me for this?
He crouches down and he looks at the piece of mithril, and the piece of mithril, let me check one more thing.
Is it marked?
Don't give him ideas.
I was already calculating that. And he looks at it. So the piece that you have, so the original bar that he had lifted up was a bar that was stamped. The piece that you have is a more unrefined chunk that has not yet been stamped, that he had under the main display that you palmed when you climbed up in there. And he goes, oh, that's an unrefined chunk of mithril. Well, I mean,
Really?
the bars are more expensive because they're refined, but see here. And he goes and he gets his scale and he sets it down. And then he starts pulling out his counterweights and he puts the mithril on there and he starts putting on his counterweights and looking at it. He eyes it up. And then let me do one more. Oh, Jesus.
Uh-oh.
And he does. And he's like, okay, yeah. So, that's about 30 gold worth of raw mithril because, we're going to get about a pound of mithril out of it after you refine it and you purify it. Yeah, it's about 35 gold worth of mithril. What are you looking to sell it?
Actually, I want to trade it. Do you have a pound of refined mithril?
Yeah, I suppose I can trade you straight up. Sure. And he's going to roll. Yeah. And he reaches in and he gets a little bar of mithril. Looks like, like those bars of gold you can get, the little ones. He gets a little bar of mithril and he goes, all right, I'll trade you. Thank you very much. The next place that we're stopping at, I'm going to be able to get this refined. Thank you very much.
Nice. And yeah, flip him a steel coin. There's a tip for you. And yeah, head back on over to Piper.
He looks at the coin and he's like, what the fuck? And he tosses it into his cart with the other metals and he shuts the key to the cart.
I have no gold, no silver, except those 2 pieces that I found. All my currency is in steel.
He failed every insight check.
Well, that was very impressive, Chet. Thank you. This will help very much with fixing sparks.
Well, I'm good at finding things for people. Here you go.
Thank you.
She'll take it and put it in her bag and keep heading to is Hattori staying with her parent?
Yeah, he's been your mom has kind of taken a shining to Hattori after she found out that he saved you, and she's insisted on helping take care of him until he feels better, against his wishes, and because she's been kind of aiding him, and he's been wanting to stay elsewhere, but then she would insist otherwise and not relent because she's stubborn, and so. You would assume at this time of day that he's probably overeating breakfast with your parents and at their house.
Let's go see Mom and Dad Copperhorn.
And then she's gonna go to their house.
All right, so you go over there.
I don't know if they're still following or not.
Are you guys all following her over to her parents' place?
K1 would be following Piper everywhere.
Yeah, sure.
She's got no other job right now.
This is trauma.
So
This
you
is
guys,
his life.
so yeah, you guys follow Piper over to her parents' place, and she has they have a nice little house. It looks like they're. Oh no, actually, you didn't fall through the roof. You were okay. Yeah, so no, it looks like a nice little house, and I'm assuming Piper just opens the door and goes on in.
I'm in.
Is
And
the fence fixed?
the fence. Oh no, it wasn't the fence. It was the table.
No, the fence was also broken because the tree got knocked down.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Tree knocked over it.
The fence is indeed fixed, and kind of ramshackled because Piper was a little rushed because she had other things to fix.
Piper does not ramshackle anything.
Okay, so then Piper
She
fixed the
fixed
fence,
it completely.
and so you go on inside, and the place is very nice. And in the kitchen is Piper's mom, who is loading up a plate of thirds because they have small plates because they are fawns and small. And Hattori is very large And she's putting it in front of Hattori, and he's objecting. Like, you don't have to do that. Oh, eat up, eat up, eat up, eat up. Piper, come on in, bring your friends. And your dad's just kind of sitting there at the table, and he's sipping his coffee, and it looks like he's reading a book. He's just kind of got a book in front
Yeah,
of him.
I have friends with me.
Going to make coffee and get me something to eat.
Yeah. And you go and you see, and as you go and you pour yourself coffee, and you start loading up a plate, and hello.
Hi.
That's
I'm
Chet.
Chet.
Hi, and she shakes your hand.
And that's K1.
Oh, did you make K1?
No, he came to my workshop yesterday and I fixed him.
He came to your workshop yesterday?
Mhm.
Oh, did he come with the caravan?
Yes.
Oh, how nice.
And this is Rose and Silas, my mom and dad.
Silas just kind of, and he turns the page, and she, oh, okay, and she goes and she shakes K1's hand as well, and she goes, come, sit, 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 sit. And she insists that everybody sits down. The table looks brand new, because they broke it 2 weeks ago.
It's broken.
And Hattori just kind of nods to everybody. Good morning.
Are the chairs?
Good morning, Authority.
I'm assuming the chairs are small. Is
Oh.
Hattori sitting in one of the smaller chairs?
Yes, his knees are up at the table. Like the tables are a little big for Chet. Hattori's knees are literally up by either side of the table, and he looks like he's just kind of squatting in the chair. And he actually has the chair turned around the other way because of his tail. And so it's like he's sitting backwards in the chair, and the back of the chair is just kind of pressed up against his sternum. And he's just sitting there and he's eating.
So, upon investigation of these chairs, do you would K1
I mean, Hattori's sitting in
be a
one.
bad
Hattori's about 350 pounds.
So a 6 foot, almost all metal automaton? How much do you think would weigh? That would
Well,
weigh?
I mean, only one way to find out, really. So he sits in the chair.
Yeah, he's gonna like
So
kind of look around the room and slowly pull the chair out.
So as
And-
K1 sits in the chair, I want you to go ahead and roll me roll me a dex check.
Still at
No, at this point you've kind
It's
of
back-
worked
back
everything
at
out.
normal.
Yeah, you've been moving around all night.
that's natural 20. So
Nice.
23.
So you see K1 just slowly sitting down in the chair, and then the chair groans and buckles as he adds more and more weight to it. And then the chair just breaks into pieces under him, but because he rolled a nat 20 on his dex check, he just looks like he's sitting in the air now. As the chair just breaks, and Hattori looks over.
Yes, they had to reinforce my chair.
And you see Piper's dad just kind of,
I am so sorry.
Piper, you're fixing that too.
I can fix it.
K1. K1. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think the chair hurts? And go find me a couple pillows to sit.
Piper will immediately try to fix the chair.
It broke pretty clean, so it'll take
K1 will
minimum
help
effort.
as much as he can.
So, Piper, what are your plans for today?
Well, Tori, I was wondering, I was buying some metal today, and I saw that the guy at the merchant at the stall said that he sold you some Mythallar.
Mithril.
Mythallar. That's what I meant. I meant Mithril. Sorry. He sold you some Mithril, and I was
Yes.
wondering what kind of projects you were working on with it.
Yes, he sold me Mithril and adamantine.
Yeah, I was wondering what kind of projects you were working on with it.
I'm a blacksmith.
Oh.
I was going to make a new sword.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Oh, I was just curious. I'm going to probably buy some Mithril myself to fix sparks.
Mm-hmm. But,
No buts. Only.
well, you better hurry. The caravan leaves and probably within the hour.
Yeah, you're right.
But,
Well,
She's broke.
I spent all my money to save Chet and K1.
Do you remember I've told you you're a terrible liar?
I know.
You should let me lie. I'm actually pretty good at
Are you?
it. Yes.
Okay.
How much mithril do you need?
Well, I want you to have your mithril for your sword, so I don't expect you to give me yours, but I just didn't know if you knew, like, anything that I might be able to trade for it, or what those kind of people like to have.
He is a metal. He's such a metal tradesman. He likes metals. Gold, silver, iron, mithril, adamantium, obdurium. Anything you can get your hands on. I doubt you have obdurium.
I have all kinds of metal at my shop I can go check right now!
I don't know if you would want scrap though. You
Oh,
want
it's
raw
scrap.
material bars.
But scrap can be melted down into bars.
Maybe
That's
what
called
you want-
Yeah!
smelting.
Yes, it is called smelting.
I should go right now before he leaves.
And Piper's gonna run to her workshop as fast as her little hooves can carry her.
And thanks for breakfast and the coffee, bye.
K1 like stands up
Also,
and
bye,
doesn't
Hattori,
really
I love you,
know.
bye.
Goodbye, Piper. Goodbye, K1.
Bye, Piper. Bye, K1. So how are you doing, Mom and Dad?
And Piper's dad just kind of looks down, pulls his book down, and looks over at Chet. He puts his book back, and Piper's mom goes, "Oh, aren't you just the cutest?" And she starts putting more food on your plate.
Oh, thank you.
And then Tori just goes, "Be careful, Chet. She may never let you leave." And she laughs, "Oh, you're such a kidder, Hattori," and slaps him on his back, and he's
She's either stronger than she looks or you're not. Just kind of look at Hattori.
both.
Aww.
Can you tell me something about? I've never been here. You guys use weird currency. And yeah, just kind of drop down about 10, 15 steel coins.
He reaches over and he looks at him. He goes, "Well, the problem is this is not currency. This is steel."
That's what they use where I come from.
He takes his claw, and you see him. He takes his claw and he scrapes at it a little bit, and he tinks it, and then he like kind of dinks it off the table.
This is actually good steel, too.
Well, yeah, it's weapons grade steel.
Yes, the currency of these lands is gold, silver, copper, electrum, platinum, precious metals.
Oh, but where I'm from, there are wars, so many wars that precious metals don't really stand up against anything. We need steel for armor, for weapons. So it's more valuable than anything else.
Yes, I see.
And he looks at the coins. You said he threw about 15, 20 coins on there?
Yeah.
He goes, here.
And he takes them and he puts those coins in his pocket. He reaches over and he pulls out a little handful of gold coins and he sets them on the table.
Here is the equivalent in gold, in your currency. Coin for coin.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, these steel coins will get you nowhere. I can use them. I can make a dagger or something with them. You can buy things with that.
Okay. Yeah, I usually don't have to. I usually just forage for myself.
Now, so you know, one of these gold coins is worth 10 silver coins. One silver
But there's only one.
Right. In exchange. So that nobody steals from you.
Okay.
And one silver coin is equivalent to 10 copper coins. Do you follow?
Yes. So
10
one
gold
gold
coins.
coin? One gold coin is worth 100 copper coins. So I could have 100 copper coins with just this one?
Yes, it is equivalent. But 100 copper coins is heavy.
You're right, it is.
And 10 gold coins is equivalent to 1 platinum.
Okay. So I want platinum coins.
Everybody wants platinum coins.
Okay.
But
I
gold
think I
is
can
nice
do
too. Platinum is rare. Gold is more common.
Well, I don't want to be called a dwarf carrying so much gold around.
You are not stout enough to be dwarf.
I don't know. And yeah, start shoving one of the pillows under my shirt. Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure.
Fine.
All right. So Piper, what are you doing?
I'm going back to my shop to see if I can find any precious metals to
Okay.
trade for mithril.
And Mapmaker, what are you currently doing right now?
I am using my eagle to scout around the area of the town to make sure that the path back for the caravan is clear and nice and not with bandits.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll a perception check for your companion.
That's with advantage.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any more money?
I should check my eagle stats.
I'll go fill it.
Jeez. Sorry.
Plus 6. That's a 23.
23? Okay. So your companion is it's scouting about the area. It flies off, and you wanted to have it fly on the path that you're taking out to lead them out of the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And,
you lead
have
them
us
to
around
the
an
you
area.
lead them out of the boundaries of the mountains where basically the latent natural magics of the area prevents people from moving about conveniently, so to speak. So you sent your golden eagle about just around the time that you saw Piper come up and then run off to her parents' house, and it flies a good distance, a few miles down the way to get a good view, although it can see pretty far down the mountain. And once it comes back, it reconvenes to you that for the most part that the path down is safe to go, but it does let you know that there is smoke, heavy black smoke rising from the town at the base of the mountain that Carl was already mentioning that he wanted to avoid regardless. And it looked like it was very thick black smoke, probably something. Your companion lets you know that something bad is most likely happening there at that moment.
Right. Okay. Is there an easy way to them and avoid it?
There's a longer route around Ulasil that you can take to avoid the town altogether. It'll probably add about an extra half day's journey onto it. But yeah, you can definitely avoid it without much of an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll pitch that to Carl.
Okay.
Carl. So there is the longer way around, but it would add about half of a day, which you would, of course, pay me for.
Yeah. I knew I had a bad feeling about those guys on the road. Ugh. Extra half day's pay. Well, it's better than getting caught up with that crap, I suppose. God, I can't do an honest day's work anymore in these areas. There's always somebody trying to mess up everybody's good time. There's a nice town. And they had that statue to my friend Bimble. Those bastards.
Oh, Kat's character scouted ahead and reported there's thick black smoke coming from Ulasil.
Oh no!
All right. Well, I'll start checking out that route, making sure that it's okay while you continue to pack up.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah. We should be ready to go soon. I'd say about another 20, 30 minutes. Yeah.
Perfect.
And he's about going on schedule, and he's kind of grumbling, and you hear him yell, "Hey, Joey, Richie, hurry the hell up! We got an extra half day's journey now!" And Piper, you're hearing this because he's screaming as you're running over to your shop. "We got an extra half day's journey now because we gotta avoid that damn town Ulasil."
They said, what did he say about Lucio?
He said we got an extra half day's journey now because we have to avoid that damn town Ulasil. He just screamed it. You don't even have to roll perception for that because he's yelling it loud enough. 90% of the town can hear him.
So she's going to run up. Can she see Lucille from her? Is there a view from the mountaintop or no?
Not from the village, no. Maybe if you climbed way up higher in the mountain
What's
where
happening
the
to
giantess
Lucille?
lives, maybe?
There's a thick black smoke over the city. If you'd like, I can send my bird down and see what's going on there.
Oh, could you please? That city's very important to me, and I have to know what's going on.
Of course.
Thank you.
Piper, is it?
Yes. What's your name?
I make maps. I don't have a name.
Mapmaker. Got it.
Yeah. She'll go ahead and use her action to go into the bird's head and send it over to see what's going on.
Sure. And on foot, it's a kind of a few hour journey down the mountain because you're going down. But for the bird, it's just going straight over. It doesn't take long. And yeah, you do see that there's thick black smoke coming up from the town. After a point, when it gets down there, you see through the bird's eyes, you can see that there are some people kind of like scattering and running around. Some of the buildings are burning, and the odd thing is the buildings that are burning don't look like the rest of the town. They look a little more run down, a little more barren, even though the other parts of the town look very nice. And you see what looks like a group of people that look well armed, and a group of people that are well armed, and another one that looks like they're wearing some sort of robes, and they're kind of, it's hard to tell what they're doing, but they have a few of the townspeople in front of them on their hands and their knees, and they're too far away to hear what's being said, but it looks like they're taking fairly hostile actions.
Okay. I'll get out of the bird and relay all of that to Piper, tell her that the more worn down buildings are burning and there seem to be some sort of robed, armed people that are not very nice.
No! Alright, I have to go right away. Thank you so much for checking for me, but oh dear.
So she's going to... How fast could she get there and goat back?
On the riding goats?
Yeah.
It would take her. So you know that you would know, Mapmaker, that they the fawns here, they have very large mountain goats that they've tamed that they ride because it's easier with the stiff cliffs, the steep cliffs, the stiff cliffs. I swear English is my first language.
Stiff clips.
But it would probably take you, because on foot it takes about 4 hours to get there from the mountain, 4 to 5 hours. On mountain goat back, it would probably take you about an hour. Piper?
But how fast is
Piper? Sorry.
Oh,
but how fast is the goats?
They're 60-foot speed, but they do not. They don't have to slow down due to the terrain because of the steep terrain. Whereas in like the caravan, it would take longer because the oxes have to fight the caravan.
Piper is going to run up the mountain to where she's hiding her ornithopter, and she's going to yell in the general direction of the house and say, "I'm going to get the ornithopter to save Lucille."
By herself?
What?
She's yelling to the house where the friends are, and she's hoping that the elf can also hear her.
Oh, she just screams
K1's
this?
right there.
Yes. Okay.
She's going outside to fight a
K1's
seal,
right there.
and yeah, Chet's on his way out.
Alright, so Chet runs out. And you're all running over to the ornithopter? Or to Piper? What are you doing?
Oh yeah, and he's looking for the seal.
He's looking for the seal.
I don't know. I'm supposed to lead this caravan in 20 minutes.
Hmm.
But an ornithopter sounds really interesting.
It's true.
If you'll excuse me for just a minute, Carl.
What?
And I'll run to the ornithopter.
Hey, wait, what are you doing? Oh, come on! Yeah, that's the
You
last.
have
He's
a
got
map?
deliveries to make.
All right, so you're all climbing into the ornithopter.
Where's the seal? Yet looking at Piper.
Oh, Ulaseel's the town that we have to save. Bimble died to protect the town. So I have to save it.
Oh, I thought you were going to fight a seal.
Oh no, Ulaseel is the town. You misheard me, Mr. Kender.
Oh my gosh, she bit my face.
All right, Miss Goat Person.
Yes, that's
And he's
me.
going to plop down.
Alright, everybody hang on to your butts.
And she's
Where's it going? And just grab.
All right,
Good.
so we did establish you. I had you. No, don't chew on my earpiece. We did have you establish that you managed to repair the ornithopter between the last game and before through rolls off stream.
Yes.
So go ahead and roll me a tinker check to fire her up because you haven't fired her up yet.
Nope. That is a 25.
Yeah. It sputters, it groans, it whines. You have to fiddle with the gems a little bit, but you manage to get that baby to start up and
away we go!
And as the ornithopter starts to take off, you see Hattori slowly walking up in the direction of the ornithopter.
Oh, wait.
And he waves a hand.
Oh, did he want him to wait for...
Hmm?
Did he want them to wait for him?
He's waving a hand at her. Okay, you're going
Well,
down.
if she saw that he was coming, she would have waited for him before she took off.
Okay. Yeah, so like you start to, as you pull up to have it go, you see him come up as he's walking up.
Oh wait, don't rush it, Tori.
And he's moving pretty brisk, but he's still using the stick. And then he just kind of walks up to the ornithopter, and he squeezes in, and he bumps Chet over. And he
Be
sits
careful,
down.
my butt might come off.
Oh, yes, she told you to hang on to your butt.
Yes.
I'm coming.
Good. We need all the help we can get.
And she's gonna fly up, down the mountain to Ulaseel. Oh!
And down the ornithopter goes.
Hey, you little asshole! She jumped up and started climbing up my back.
Yeah, she
Did
does
Map
it.
Maker?
She does that to me like 5 times a day.
Did Map Maker actually get in?
Yes, but she's making herself as small as she can in the corner because while she looks 5'5", she's still technically 7'7".
Little hook socks. All right. So yeah, so the ornithopter takes to the air, and once you get into the air and you get high up, you do see this black smoke that Mapmaker was talking about. And you were anticipating weight from Hattori, but the ornithopter's flying a touch sluggish, even for having Hattori's weight in there, and for having K1 in there as well. You kind of anticipated the extra weight from K1, and you made the adjustments for Hattori, but it's still running a little bit sluggish. It's odd. Maybe Hattori gained a little weight
weird.
from your mom overfeeding him. I don't know. But
It's so weird.
you guys, ornithopter off. And it takes the ornithopter moves very fast and takes little to no time. You're in the air for about 15-20 minutes before you see Ulaseel ahead of you and begin to make your descent. Go ahead and roll me another Tinker's check, please, for your landing. And where are
as
you
we're
landing?
going, I keep dipping into the Eagle to see if anything's changed. To make sure I know what the current situation will be when we land.
Mm-hmm. You see,
I'm sitting on a pillow.
as you look into as Piper's starting to approach, and you look into the Eagle, you do see that again the one in the robe seems to be the one directing, and then at one point he points at the person that's to his far right, and then you see one of the larger armored men walk up, draw a big greatsword, and then he cleans it, resheathes it, and then the guy starts gesturing again, and then motions to the next person, and you see that he seems to be conversing with one specific individual that looks like some woman that's off to his left that's also down there with the others.
Okay.
And Piper, where are you landing?
Right in the action. No. No, she's not. She's going to land the ornithopter somewhere safe nearby so it can't be seen.
Okay, where?
It can't be seen.
Yes.
I mean,
Like,
Like, is
this
there a glade?
this is a helicopter, right?
it's loud, yeah.
Oh, it's loud? So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, is there somewhere nearby where they can land it?
I mean, he can land it somewhere on the mountain, but...
No, let's land it right in the middle. Right in town.
Okay. So... Okay, so... as you're approaching, two of the... so you see 5 men. One in robes. One that's wearing what looks like chainmail. And has a shield on his back with some sort of symbol on it. And then 3 men that are also wearing chainmail, and they have great swords. And they are much larger than the other man with the shield. 2 of the men with the great swords don't seem to notice the loud ornithopter flying in. The man with the robes, the man with the shield, and one of the other ones with those swords, they all turn and they look as this crazy thing comes landing down. And the 2 men in armor that notice kind of look odd, and then they look at each other, and the man with the robes just kind of nods, and they turn to face you, and you see kneeling on the ground there are some of the individuals that live in the town. The one that was struck down, while the other people that are all on the ground look normal, the one that was struck down looks like some weird amalgamation of human and animal. Or beast of some sort. You've never really... Piper has seen something like this, but I would say that the other ones of you probably have never seen anything like this before. You can roll a nature check if you think that you might understand what it is. If any of you want to roll like a nature check.
I will. I like nature. That's a 14.
Okay.
That is a 21 for me.
Mapmaker, you're not sure. You know the things on the mountain, but you've never seen anything like that on the mountain. K1, you do have records of things like this. You know these to be mongrel folk. Well, that one in particular is a mongrel folk, but the other ones are just people, and it doesn't really make sense why the dead one would be that and the other one would be people. It's kind of odd. And the ornithopter, how far are you landing it from these people?
I don't want them to be in danger of getting hurt, but she kind of wants to make an entrance to try and intimidate the people who are bullying the townsfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Of course she does.
Who's the bad guy? Who's the bad guy? And Hoopak is out, and it's the sling is loaded in it.
Mm-hmm.
She says,
What's going on here?
as she lands the ornithopter,
Why are you attacking innocent people and burning their houses?
And yeah, so you hop out and
no, she doesn't hop out. She's standing in the ornithopter as it lands, and she's yelling.
Oh, you're standing, and Hattori slowly makes his way up and stands up and actually lifts a hand and catches one of the whirly boppers before it bops him in the head because of how tall he is. And the one in the robes kind of laughs. What do you mean, what am I doing? There's no people here. Look! And he points at the dead mongrel folk.
They're people too.
Look at this building that we've destroyed. Does it look like the others? These
Doesn't
aren't
matter.
people. These are monsters hiding like people.
You're a monster.
Hardly. I am doing this world a service. They are hiding something, and I want it. And they don't
You should
need
just
it.
attack him and stop listening to his words. They're clearly very unkind.
Who are you?
Kill the wizard! And yeah, sharpshooter.
Nice. You're doing. You just say kill the wizard, and you
Yep.
Yep.
I'm using my -5 for my sharpshooter too.
roll it.
That is 15, so that brings me up to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Nice. Yeah. So you whip it with the sharpshooter, and he lifts his hand up, and you see you just see this shimmering, round, almost scale-like metallic field pop in front of him. But that stone from your Hoopak just tears right through it. And go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay, that's a 1 on the die.
Mhm.
So with my sharpshooter, that is 17
17.
Wow.
Nice.
plus 10 because of sharpshooter.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
So that you see him, he kind of just has this arrogant grin as he holds up and casts that spell that tries to block that stone as it just tears right through it and blasts him so hard in the shoulder it knocks him back and he actually lands on the ground and actually no, let me double check that. Oh yeah, it hits him in the shoulder and knocks him clean on his ass because he was not expecting that. As that shimmering field's kind of like as it's still there, trying to keep it's sputtering a little bit, and as he didn't expect you, just tear right through it, and you just hear him go, "Killed him!" And then the 3 men with great swords draw their great swords and they start walking up, and you see the other man that was standing there with the armor. He just pulls out his shield and he stands there, but he doesn't advance. Now I need everybody to roll me initiative.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man.
Ooh, gotta love that advantage. Rolled a 17 and a 19.
Nice.
22.
That's 23.
Nice.
This way for. Ooh, okay.
Where's the kitten? Oh.
She's being mischievous. Don't worry about her. She'll be fine. Like I said, I let her free run at this point. She'll be fine.
While you get this set up, I'm gonna run and grab a drink real quick.
Sure thing. All right. Akani, what did you get?
I got a 23.
23 for K1. All
I'm
right.
sorry, 22.
22 for K1.
Yep.
Chet, what'd you get?
I got an 18.
18 for Chet. Piper, what'd you get?
7.
7 for Piper.
Good job, Piper.
Hattori.
I'm gonna be sick.
Hattori got a 14. And what did Kat say she got?
19.
19 for Kat. So.
Sure. She rolled a 19. She got a 1 higher than me. She got 23.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah.
Map maker. K1, Chet.
I'm gonna go check on the kids.
Tori.
It's low on initiative, if that's okay.
Piper.
I hear rustling about.
Oh yeah, she's probably getting into some mischief. All right. So the order is going to go Map Maker once she gets back with her drink, K1,
I'm
Chet,
back.
Hattori, Piper, and then they rolled like piss, so they go last. So first up is Map Maker.
Okay. What's the situation with the ornithopter?
The Ornithopter has landed. She said she wanted to make an entrance and do some intimidation, so she probably landed because the village is to the south. So she landed at the northern end of the town. We'll say, Hope, how far away did you land from him?
Like, I don't know, 20 feet?
20 feet from them? So yeah, you are 20 feet from these armed and dangerous men.
Close.
Piper is very
all right.
reckless. Get used to it.
How much movement
Piper
would it
is
take to
very
get out of the ornithopter?
I mean, it's not much.
It has a step to get down out
I
of
would
it.
say to get out of it, since you're not like bound or fallen and it didn't have a hard landing, 5 feet of
Yeah.
movement.
Okay, cool. I will get out of it.
Mhm.
And then walk 25 feet away from him.
Got it. So now you are 45 feet away.
55. Or yeah, 45.
Mhm.
And then I will turn around and pull out my bow.
Mhm.
And did you say that there was a woman they seemed to be taking orders from?
The
they
woman was the
reporting
one that
to?
he seems to be accosting. So there's the
Oh, he
5
was
men,
accosting them.
and then
Okay.
there are 4 people that are down and they're not saying anything, and then there is a woman that's kneeling there, and she actually looks defiant, and she looks like she's actually been the one that's been like, mm-mm.
Okay,
It looks
I
like
wanna-
of them, the wizard was the one that looks like he's the one that's been barking the orders.
in charge. Okay, I'm gonna hunter's mark the wizard,
Mhm.
and then shoot him,
Roll it.
and then fucking shoot him.
Shoot him!
That's a natural 20.
Oof.
Whoa.
Roll it.
Yep, so for a total of 28, if that matters. But so that's. Do you do the full damage dice?
Yep, max plus roll.
All right, so a full d8 and a full d6,
Mhm.
plus another 6 and another fucking 8. So that's 16 plus 12 is 28, plus 4 is 32.
Nice. So he still has that. Again, he's
Hell yeah.
the shield is sputtering in front of
you.
him, and you see her just fire an arrow, and it again rips through that, and it gets him right in the chest, and he's not dead, but he is very out. You said there was how much total again? 32?
32, yeah.
Wait, which one did she attack?
She shot the mage.
The wizard.
The wizard, got
Yeah.
it, okay.
And then I'll just like exhale slowly, and that'll be the end of my turn.
Next up is K1.
All right. So how close did you say we were from?
She parked 20 feet from them. So you are 20 feet. They were standing in think of Wild West style. They were all standing in a line. They got these people lined up, execution style, in front of them, and it looked like they were interrogating the one woman. And when she wasn't complying, they just started. And so, yeah, you are 20 feet from each of them. It's going to take 5 feet of your movement to step out of the ornithopter since you are seated comfortably and she landed so well. And, yeah.
I will go ahead and step out, and the one that's hurt, that she just shot, the wizard.
Oh, yeah. Same one that you saw Chet nail with his hoopak.
Yeah. He's going to step a few feet outside of the ornithopter, and you're going to see this long wire with barbs burst out of the wire, and he's going to swing it back and then right at him, casting Thorn Whip.
Nice.
And which is...
And you said you're attacking the wizard as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So 17.
17 to hit?
17 to hit.
So the 17 does not hit. As you get that Thorn Whip out and you swing, it hits against that shield that you saw both of them fire through, and that does have enough in it to manage to fend off the Thorn Whip. Okay. Because that lasts until the beginning of his next turn. What else are you doing?
That's my turn.
Okay. Now we are at Chet's turn in the order, since Chet took the surprise to just fire away in the first place.
First thing I would do is use my bonus action and look at one of the warriors. What does a certain one look stronger, bigger than any of the others?
So the three look to be about the same. They look to be about the muscle of the group. The other one with the shield, though, he hung back while the first three started advancing towards you, and he doesn't have a weapon in his hand currently.
Okay, I'm going to taunt him. Hey, you! Hey! Yeah, you with the shield? Yeah. Did you know? Did your parents know they were separated at birth, or did they know they were brother and sister?
Roll it, because you got to roll that, right?
It's a wisdom DC of 15.
Oh, okay. That's a natural 1. He failed. Oh, I used the wrong die for that, but yeah, that's a natural 1. He failed that. So now he has to attack you, otherwise he gets disadvantage, or he has to attack you and get disadvantage?
For the next 1 die 10 turns, he has to attack me, and he has disadvantage on his attack, and whoever's attacking him has advantage on their attack rolls, as he is in a blind fury.
Okay, and now do I roll the die 10 or do you roll the die 10?
You do.
All right. So he has to attack you and he gets advantage?
He has disadvantage on his attacks against me.
Okay, because he's so angry, but he has to attack you. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm just going to load a bit more ammo. Oh, look at that. That's a bolt that I had in my hoop lock. And that is an 18 on the die roll, so that is a 26 to hit.
And you were aiming it at the shield guy?
Yep.
That hits.
That is 1. That is a 7, since I did not use sharpshooter.
All right. So that does hit him. It dinks into his armor and dents his armor a little bit. He's, you little son of a bitch! And next up is Hattori. And he takes a step. He as he's standing there and he stops the ornithopter, he takes his staff and he holds it out and he lets go of it. And then he starts to walk towards one of the 3 men that are advancing. He goes to one that's the outside, and he's just, they all pull out their great swords and they start advancing towards him. And as he gets to the one, you just see him quickly reach to the side. And while he's been walking slow, his hands are still swift, and he, with a draw, pulls out that katana and slices at them. And as the katana exits, it also bursts into flame, and he hits. And that guy did not like that one bit as he slices into him and he staggers back a little bit. And then next up is Piper.
Cool. So the wizard's still up?
He is on his back, but he is still alive, yes.
Okay, and then how are the greatsword guys looking?
2 have not been touched. The one Hattori hit didn't like the hit, but he still looks like he's going strong. They look like they're pretty damn tough.
Alright, so she is going to stand up. She's going to hop out of the ornithopter. She's going to take her crossbow of her own invention.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to pull a little lever on the side of it back, and you'll see this crimson orange energy just kind of flare up in it, and some sparks come out of it as she points it and activates her I made it myself ability on the crossbow as she shoots at the greatsword guy. Oh, that's a 19 on the die. That is 25 to hit.
Hits.
So that is, I should have had that middle. Okay, so that is, 1d8 plus 5 pierce, so it's 8 piercing damage, and then an additional 5 fire damage. So
Is it 8 piercing and 5 fire?
Yeah.
And you were attacking the person that Hattori attacked, or one of the other guys?
The one at Tori.
8 piercing, 5 fire, 13 total. Thank you. Okay. Alright. And now it is their turn. First, the enraged cleric. You know this because as he holds his shield in his free hand, he holds his free hand up, and you see this bolt of energy form, and then he hurls it. He can attack you with a spell, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and he hurls this energy bolt at the Kender. Oof. That is an 11 to hit.
14.
So he is so... Oh, that wasn't even with the disadvantage. With the disadvantage, yeah, it didn't matter. So yeah, so with the disadvantage, you see he's just so angry, it just... And he shoots it at you as if you were as tall as he was, and it goes right over the top of your head. The first armed person that advanced on Hattori that was hit by him and Piper will swing at Hattori once. He misses. The second one comes up to engage. Actually, the second one comes up to engage Hattori. He hits. Hattori did not like that. And then the third one goes up to K1. Ugh. That is a 23 to hit.
Yes.
Okay. And he will do 8 damage to you with his greatsword as he comes up and just and clangs it off of your metal. The spellcaster will get up to his feet, and then you see him reach into his pouch, and he slams some sort of potion. Okay. And we are back at the top of the order. Mapmaker, it is your turn.
I'm attacking that fucking spellcaster again.
Okay. Roll it.
That's a 15 to hit.
15 hits.
Nice. Shut up. For 7 and 6, 13 damage.
13 damage, okay.
Yes.
Alright, are you doing anything else?
I'm gonna move. How far away is everyone?
Everybody seems to be
50,
clustered around the
45.
ornithopter. You're 25 feet behind the ornithopter, so you're currently 45 feet from the wizard, 45 feet from the cleric, now that you guys know, because he casted some sort of holy spell, and you are 25 feet from the 3 melee combatants.
Okay. I'm gonna move back just so I'm 70 feet away
Okay.
from the spellcaster, because I know some spells have a 60-foot range.
All right, and that's your turn.
Yes.
All right, Matt. K1, you are up, and you have a large armored man with a greatsword wailing on your metal and stone and wood body.
All right. I am going to. I'm going to cast poison spray.
Ooh.
As a small opening opens up in my palm, and then just spray right in his face.
Nice. What sort of a check is that going to be?
Con save DC 14.
Con save DC 14?
Yeah.
He passes.
Okay. And I think that's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either a pass or fail or save. So.
Okay. Yep. All right. Are you doing anything else?
That'll be it for now.
All right. Next up is Hattori. He did not like his owl that he got from the one person that hit him, which was the person that he had been also hit with Piper. So he's going to swing at him again. Ooh, he looks like he is a little weakened, so he missed his attack. And next up is Piper.
Okay.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
I'm
was gonna
sorry. Hattori went before Chet. My mistake, because I accidentally crossed out Chet because I thought Matt Maker went between K1 and Chet, and then I was wrong. Let me fix this. Chet, you are up. My mistake. And then Hattori misses after Chet goes.
Oh crap! Old dragon guy, and yeah, he's flipping that hoop over to the other side, and he's going to attack the guy that's attacking Hattori with the staff end of his weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 14 on the die, so that is a 19 to hit.
19 hits.
Okay, that is both hands, so we got 8. That is 10 points of damage.
10 points of damage, very nice.
Be careful, old dragon guy. And I'm using my bonus action to hide.
Nice. What did she knock over?
Knocked all the stuff off the top of her cage.
All right. Then it's Hattori's turn. You see Hattori attack and miss. And then now it is Piper's turn.
So the guy attacking Hattori is still up.
Yes.
And how does he look?
He looks fine.
So Piper, seeing that Hattori is in danger, she unclips a little like metal sphere that has buttons and stuff in it from her utility belt, and she hits one of the buttons on it. It is a big red button, and she cranks it and throws it and activates her chromatic orb gadget and attacks him.
Okay.
So she makes a ranged spell attack. And that is a 19 to hit.
19 hits.
Alright, so that's 3d8 fire damage as it explodes on him. Ooh, 12 plus 8 is 20. 20 fire damage.
Oof. Yeah, he did not like that. He did not like that at all.
Get away from my friends! You big dumb one.
All right, next up is them. First you see the wizard. He starts moving his hand in arcane motions, and he vanishes. And you no longer can see him. Next up, the cleric again forms another bolt and hurls it angrily at the Kender that so taunted his mama. And he misses. The warrior that is fighting with Hattori, he continues to swing at Hattori. Where is my DM die? There it is. And he takes that sword and he swings it at Hattori. And right as he's about to bring it down, you see Hattori grab the hilt of his sword with his second hand, and he deflects up and actually disarms the man with the deflection, as the man didn't have his grip on his sword good enough. Rolled a nat 1. The other person is going to move past Hattori towards Piper, seeing her as a threat after that. Those 2 gadgets she pulled out, taking an attack of opportunity from Hattori. Ooh, who he nails, and now that he's two-handing his weapon, that's a d10. Because it's a reflavored longsword.
Is he moving in between Hattori and myself, or how close are...
So Hattori got out on the right side of the Ornithopter. I'm assuming, did you get out on the same side as Hattori, or did you get out on the opposite side?
I got off of the side where I stepped towards the line of...
Yeah, so basically, like, think about it like this, like, she parked it here, and then you had either side that you can get out to move forward from. He got out on the right side. If you got out on the same side as him, then yes, they would all be clustered together. Otherwise, you would be on the opposite side of it, and he would have 5 feet between you, or 5 to 10 feet between you.
So I would have...
Unless, does your Thorn Whip have a range? What's the range of your Thorn Whip for...
That was...
Is it reach?
That would have been 30...
Oh, wait, but that's a spell. That wasn't... it doesn't concentrate.
It's a 30-foot, yeah.
Does it concentrate, or...
Oh,
it's just a one-time.
Okay. It's a one-time attack.
Got it. So yeah, if you got on the same side as he did, then you can go ahead and roll that attack of opportunity as well, because he did hit that guy.
So what I assumed that instead of the Ornithopter facing forward, it was turned to one side.
Oh.
So if you want to roll like 50-50 with whichever side I got out on.
Sure. All right. Here, let's do it. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. You ready? Odds or evens?
Even.
Even. You got on the same side as Hattori. Go ahead and roll that AOO.
I'm going to, just do a normal unarmed strike there. So that's only a 10.
10 misses, I'm afraid. And then he's going to move past them, taking the hit, and then he is going to swing that big great sword at Piper.
Ah!
Ooh, that's an 18 on the die. I'm pretty sure that hits. Piper, you're going to take 11 damage.
Ow.
As he ows you.
Ow.
And then the other soldier that is in combat with K1, that is a hit. That's 17 on the die itself.
Just hits.
K1, yeah, so no, that's a 23 to hit total. Yeah, so then he's going to hit you for 11 as well.
Oof.
And then we are back at the top of the order. Mapmaker, you are up.
With my hunter's mark, can I tell if the wizard has like gone somewhere or went to like a different plane, or can I do a perception check or what?
Let's see. If I remember correctly, with hunter's mark, you get advantage on perception checks.
Yeah.
So,
to find it.
Does it allow you to sense them?
No, but like. But can I make a perception check to try to?
Let me see here real quick. You choose creatures you can advantage on any wisdom perception or wisdom survival checks to find it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have advantage on checks. You choose a creature you see, you mark as your quarry. Yeah, you have advantage on wisdom perceptions to find it. So go ahead and roll that perception check without advantage. Since you do not see him, since he went and vanished. But go ahead and roll it.
That's 23.
Yes, he is still there. You believe that he just magically made himself invisible.
Okay, I would like to try to shoot at him.
Because you can see where he was standing, there's no additional footprints leaving. So go ahead and roll that attack. And you're going to have to roll the attack with a disadvantage because, again, you're not sure where he's at, but you do know that you're in that line of sight.
That's a 15.
15 hits.
Yeah. All right. 4, 2, 4, 6, 11 points of damage.
11 points of damage. Beautiful. Yeah, you know that hits because you suddenly see that arrow hanging in the air and blood starting to run down from where it hit. So now he is visible in that sense. He hasn't reappeared because I don't believe invisibility drops until he does something himself. You said 11 damage?
Yep.
But yeah, you definitely see that arrow sticking in the air now after you hit your invisible target. Are you doing
Is it a
anything else?
concentration spell?
Oh, yes, it is a concentration. You said you did 11.
Yeah, 11. So
He
just do
passes.
the. All right, yeah. And that's my turn.
All right. Next up is K1.
Actually, I'll move a little bit closer. I'll move like 20 feet closer.
Sure.
And that'll be my turn.
So as far as Hattori, Piper, myself, and Kender, who is within 30 feet of each other?
I would say I would say that nobody really made him. Hattori stepped a little bit forward. He moved up about 10 feet to meet them. Piper stayed at where she was in the ornithopter. The Kender didn't seem to. He didn't say he made any move. He said he hid, but I'm assuming he hid somewhere near the ornithopter.
Yeah, he's
So
right by
say-
right by Hattori.
Yeah, so I would say you were all within a 30-foot range, yes. Except for, Kat's character moved back 25 feet, moved back another 20 feet or 25 feet, and then moved up 20 feet?
Yes. So
So
I
you
should
are
be
50
50
feet.
feet away
So-
from where the wizard was.
So she's
Or is.
50 feet from the wizard, 30 feet from you. So technically, I would say that, yes, she is still at the very edge of your range if you're talking about a 30-foot radius.
So yeah, so 30-foot radius.
So yes, so she
so
is just in your range.
Okay, so I'd like to be able to get as many of us.
That would be all of you.
All of us.
Mhm.
Okay. So K1's going to. You can see both of the parts, the two halves of the staff, released from his forearms and just come together. And he's going to flip it over, and he's going to use 5 charges to cast Mass Cure Wounds.
Ooh. Roll it.
To be able to receive, to get all of us in it.
And I follow the same rule that Hope does. Lame heals suck, so if you roll a 1 on your heals, you can re-roll it. But if you roll a 2, you keep it.
Right. So it's 3d8 or 8, 12. So 18 points
Beautiful.
to everyone.
Beautiful. You all get 18 points back.
Oh,
You see
thank
Hattori
you.
just kind of like... and he looks over at you and he nods.
You are damaged.
And he grins.
Not anymore.
All right. By the way, I love that fucking voice thing you got going. That's amazing.
I love it
It
too.
reminds me of Pathfinder on Apex. Chet, you are up.
All right. I rolled a 16, and so that brings my stealth up to 24.
Nice.
I'm actually going to do a sneak attack on the priest
All right.
from
Well-
between.
Since he's
Yep.
focused on you... Yeah, you get it.
From between Hattori's legs, sitting there, drawing back on the sling, and letting it fly.
Hope you don't roll a 1.
That's an 18 plus. That's a 26 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, damage here.
Love Hoopucks. Cool.
That's
So a Hoopuck is a walking stick that has a slingshot essentially on the top of
Oh,
it.
that's
So it's like a
really
walking stick, and then he's just like.
That's really cool. Kind of like a play on like a lacrosse stick almost.
Yeah, it's a Kender specific item.
That's really cool.
Mhm.
all right. I have a +6 on my ranged attack, and with my attack and my sneak attack, that's 9 damage.
All right.
I rolled 1, 1, and a 1.
Oof.
Oof.
All right. So that's 9 damage to the cleric. He's at okay. Yep, there we go. All right, beautiful. All right, and that's the rest of your turn.
Yep.
All right. Next up is Hattori, and he is going to, with a little surge of feeling slightly better, he's going to step in close to the guy that he's been fighting, and then he's going to take another slash at him. That is a natural 20.
Whoa.
Let's see.
Good job, old dragon guy.
That's the play on the name, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's. Oof. So you see him step in, and he just turns, and you see that he's got the bottom half of his sword up between the guy's legs, and then he lifts, and you see the guy stumble back and just fall into two pieces, and his buddies seem visibly shaken, and for the next round, any attacks against them have advantage. And next up is Piper. You have somebody up in your grill.
Yep.
But he looks like he's a little shaky-kneed because he just saw his buddy get cut in half on that critical that did a shit ton of damage.
So Piper, he looks a little bit like intimidated, maybe.
He looks freaked out because he just saw this big half dragon fuck his buddy up pretty bad.
Okay. So.
But he is
Piper's
also
going to say she's
like, oh, I could do worse than that.
and she's going to take out her pistol and she's going to point it right at him, point blank.
And fire.
Yep.
Isn't that disadvantage when you're within 5 feet with the ranged weapon?
I don't know, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Point blank
Unless
with
you have
a pistol.
Sharpshooter.
Unless you have, like
Sharpshooter. Well, I mean, not a sharpshooter, something.
There's a feat for it. I forget.
Maybe, yeah.
But
Maybe that is
since you would have advantage on the attack, it would cancel out. You would have regular attack roll hope.
Regular attack roll?
Because remember, I said that they were so shaken for the next round,
yeah.
everybody has advantage. So yeah, it would just be a straight
I
attack.
was up looking for mid now.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, 17?
17 hits.
Alright. That is a 1d10 plus 6. It's 10 damage.
10 damage?
Yes. And I'll get rid of one of my.
Right on the kneecap.
Shoots him in the nuts.
I'm gonna do you a favor. She was playing with the cords.
She's playing with this.
No, she was playing with the cord. I saw her. It's okay. I'm gonna put her in here until the end of the game.
She's gonna cry
It's for her own good.
I was watching her.
No, I know. I want you to be able to enjoy the game, though. It's game 1. I want you to enjoy is...
Alright, then.
Yes.
That's the end of Piper's turn.
Damn it, enjoy it now.
Yes! Alright, so you said that was 10 damage. I already counted the damage for him. Beautiful.
10 Rudy, 2d point, and shooty.
Next up is them. And let's see. Alright. Yeah, next up is them. And... Okay. So the mage, the cleric is going, after getting shot again by that Upak from between Ordori's legs, he's going to fire another spell at the Kender, and again misses. Jeez, that disadvantage is brutal for him. The other guy just got shot point blank with another odd gadget, and his buddy saw that as well, so they are both going to roll. Oof. They both just rolled checks basically for morale, and they are both going to drop their swords and turn and run. Piper, if you have a melee weapon, go ahead and take an attack of opportunity. I don't think you can attack of opportunity with a ranged weapon. Connie, if you have a melee attack, go ahead and take an attack of opportunity against the one in combat with you. And Hotori's going to get one against the guy because he's within 5 feet of Connie as well, although he misses.
Yeah,
Can I take one?
Yeah, because you're right between Hotori's legs. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Hoopak counts as also a melee weapon if it's used a certain way, right?
Yeah, all I gotta do is bring it up.
Yeah.
That's a 9.
You just flip her.
You didn't even cover it.
I'm sorry. I was running. All right, and what did you get, Connie?
It's a 7.
A 7? Alright, yeah, so you both miss, but they drop their weapons and they turn and they run in the opposite direction and they keep running. The cleric, who is still infuriated, yells, "Cowards!" And that's the end of their turn. We are back at the top of the order. Mapmaker, are you going to do anything about the cleric that's still fighting or the fleeing warriors? The wizard is nowhere to be seen currently.
Nowhere to be seen.
I mean, again, you have him hunter's mark, so you can try to locate him.
I would like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Should I roll that perception at advantage or straight?
Straight.
Or disadvantage?
Straight because of hunter's mark.
Ooh, that's a 19 for a 26.
All right. You're looking around and you are not seeing him anywhere. You think he might have run RUNOFT somewhere.
Okay.
You do see a trail of footprints leading in the opposite direction. Same way that the warriors ran.
I'll try to follow the footprints and track him.
Roll me a survival check.
Do I get advantage on that? Because
Yes,
it's him?
you do get advantages on survival checks to track with the hunter's mark. So you're
Then
moving.
I'll
You're
yell
advancing.
out. Yeah, I'll yell out. I'm gonna find the wizard.
Okay.
Magic user, whatever. I don't want to stereotype.
Right.
That should be, I think, a 22 or a 23.
22 or 23? Yeah, you're definitely on his trail.
Yeah.
For sure. You think he used his turn to boogie as much as he could possibly boogie.
Okay.
What's your speed?
30.
30?
But, difficult terrain doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's a dirt road through the middle of the town, so yeah. Alright, so that's your turn. You're tracking him?
Yes.
Alright, K1, you see that there are two warriors. They have used their action and their movement to flee in the opposite direction, and there's still the angry cleric that Chet taunted and has been kind of messing with his hoopak.
Alright.
Also, Mapmaker informed you she's tracking down the wizard who is trying to hightail it out of there as well.
I will follow pursuit behind Mapmaker.
Okay.
But before I move my full movement, I'm going to... you'll see K1 wild shape into this metallic wolf.
That's cool.
You know, the metal like scratching on each other and like, you know, and then just like, you know, these like Transformer-esque like eyes light up and he just takes off right after
I dig
Mapmaker.
I dig it. And that means his speed is now 40, I believe?
I think, yes, that's right, it's 40.
So are you just following Mapmaker, or are you going in pursuit of the two men that are fleeing? Because with that speed, you could catch up to them. Their speed's only... Actually, yeah, their speed's 30.
Right now I will just follow behind kind of all three of them.
Gotcha.
Because that's my action, so I wouldn't be able to attack.
Got you. All right. Next up then is Chet. Your furious cleric is still there. He's the only one
How
left.
far is he away from me?
He's been keeping his distance. He's stood his ground where he's at, so he's still 20 feet from you. Or did you retreat a little bit? No, you've just been behind Notori. So yeah, he's about 20 feet from you.
Yeah. All right, so he's actually within my movement range. Okay, cool. Kinder Furious, charge! And yeah, he's taking off from between Hattori's legs and charging him down. 2 hands on the hoopak, and yeah, he's swinging it at him.
Nice.
For the knees. And that is a 17 and 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 to hit.
Hits.
All right. Ooh, 7, 8, 9, 10 points of damage.
Nice. Yeah, he did not like that one bit. All right. And that's your turn?
Yeah, that's my turn, other than giving him a few rude gestures.
So, Hattori, seeing you charge the cleric, from under his legs. He grins, laughs, and then he follows behind, although his charge is a little slower. And he also comes up and he will swing on the cleric since everybody else is running away. That is a hit. Where are those dice? There's that. I just had them there. Ooh, and he did not like that either. And that he's still up, although a little bloody. Alright, and then we are next at Piper. Piper, the two soldiers are fleeing. The cleric is so infuriated he's standing his ground, and your map maker, your new friend map maker, and K1 are both following in pursuit of the fleeing wizard and soldiers.
How far are the fleeing people from me?
The soldiers are currently 60 feet from you. They've used their full movement. You cannot see the wizard, and the cleric is like 20 feet from you.
Alright, how does the cleric look health-wise?
Bloody.
Alright, so I'm going to move forward to stand like nearby where the cleric and Hattori and Chet are, and I'm going to take aim with my pistol and shoot at the fleeing one of the fleeing soldiers.
Okay.
Pew pew.
Pew! That is a 16.
16 is the number.
Yes. Alright. That is 13 damage.
13 damage? Nice. And you're attacking the one that you'd been attacking prior?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I am keeping track of my ammo.
Beautiful. Alright. Next up is then the two soldiers are going to continue double moving to flee. As is the invisible mage, and the enraged cleric has one more turn of fury, and he is going to grab at Chet. And he cannot grab the wily little Kender, as the Kender can see that his hand has got this black necrotic energy around it as he's trying to grab him with it, but he fails and uses him. Oh, damn you! And then next we're at the top of the order. Mapmaker, you are up. Are you still going to continue tracking?
Yep. And I'm going to call my eagle to also start scouring the woods too.
All right. Go ahead and roll your survival check to see if you can stay on the trail.
That's a 19.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, you maintain on the trail. Now, if I remember correctly, when you're scouting, you can't double move while you're scouting. You have to move slower to...
I can because of my natural explorer.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
From Ranger. Got it. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he is using all of his movement to flee, so you're able to maintain the same distance, and you haven't lost his trail yet, but you're not gaining any grounds either. Next up then is K1.
Okay, and I'm going to follow along. I'm also going to see if I can smell or hear anything of where he, kind of keying off of where she is.
Right. So you want to do you're
where...
trying to track him as well with survival?
Yeah.
Okay, roll that. I believe with your keen senses you get a bonus to that, if I'm not mistaken, as a wolf.
Based on smell and hearing.
Yeah, so yeah, you can try and sniff him out.
Okay. It's 19. So 19 plus, you said survival?
Mm-hmm.
23.
Yeah, you definitely have his scent. He is in full retreat mode. He's trying to get the hell out of Dodge. He doesn't want any more of that fight.
Would I be able to double move to try to catch up to wherever I think he is?
You can try. Roll me a... let's see, you've got his trail. Roll me a perception check to see if you can accurately catch up to him.
Okay. Is that based off of...
Just roll me a flat... roll me a flat perception check to see if you can zone in on that trail that you've got.
That is 11.
11? So as you're double moving and you're trying to laser point in on him. You can't quite pinpoint where he's at when you're speeding up, but you are you do know his trail. He's in the vicinity, but you can't quite zone in because you're trying to speed up and rush to him rather than sniff the trail. Which then, are you doing anything else? Are you going to try to pursue the fleeing soldiers, or are you going to stick on that trail and assist Mapmaker?
I will stay on this trail.
Got it. All right. Next up is Chet.
I don't even have to try to beat you anymore. The big old guy's got it, but watch this. And I'm going to pop out my decanter, since I'm right there with him. Standing about 3 foot tall, hold it just out in front of me, and pop the lid off and say geyser.
Oh, jeez.
Decanter of endless water.
Oh, wow. So let's see then. When you geyser, that means...
That's a strength DC of 13, or take 1d4 bludgeoning damage, and they are knocked prone. That's usually if they're hitting the chest, but I'm hitting them from below.
Yeah. You said a strength DC of 13?
Yes.
Okay, he passes his strength DC, but...
Okay.
He doesn't pass his dexterity save because you're nailing him in the legs. And you take his feet out from under him, so he doesn't take any of the bludgeoning damage because he postures that, but because you're doing it pointedly at his legs, he does fall prone.
All right. And just kind of move to the side. There you go, big guy.
And it is his turn. And he will just nod and step up and lift his sword up in the air. Oh yeah, that's it. Oof. And he does a crap ton of damage to him. The cleric is still barely alive because he's hiding behind his shield with both hands as Hattori's bringing the sword down on him, and it is a flaming katana. And he is just barely hanging in there. And it is now Piper's turn.
Okay. And you said he's barely hanging on?
He's barely hanging on. He's currently laying prone on the ground, and Hattori's standing over him, and next to Hattori is a gloating and taunting Kender that is having the time of his life.
They seem to have this under control, so Piper's going to trot off. How do the two soldiers look?
Oh, they are 120 feet from you. They are using all of their movement to run. You see Mapmaker and K1 now as like a metal wolf. They are both tracking. They don't seem to be pursuing the soldiers. They seem to be pursuing someone else. You do remember Mapmaker said she was going after the wizard and she was going to try and track him because he's invisible and trying to escape.
Okay. Do they seem like they're... Where are they at in relation to me?
120 feet down the road.
She's going to go back to the ornithopter.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they take care of... Because she can't catch up to them in a reasonable amount of time. So...
Mm-hmm.
And then once they finish with that guy, she wants to, fly over and catch up with them.
Okay.
Because she doesn't want to leave the ornithopter. She's worked very hard on it.
Right. So she's going to hold action for them to climb in the ornithopter so you guys can chase down the rest of them?
Yeah, she's going to get ready to take off. Yeah.
Got it. No quarter. Heard. All right, so you're holding your action. It is their turn. Again, the people that are fleeing. The cleric on his back. What is he going to do? You're just going to hear him start, because the fury of the taunt has left him, he's just going to start pleading for his life. You hear him, "Don't kill me! I yield! And he throws his shield aside. And he holds his hands up. And that's his action. And so we'll go ahead now since they are pursuing. You're going to see Tori's just going to place his boot on the cleric's chest, and he's going to hold his sword to his throat, and he's going to look at you and go. And, we'll go back to the top of the round since you were holding that action. And Mapmaker is still in pursuit of La Wizard.
How thick is this forest?
So he did veer off the path.
Mm-hmm.
So the forest is, it's not like extremely dense, but it's fairly wooded. It helps keep the town secluded for the most part, other than like the main road, which the two less intelligent, frightened soldiers are just fleeing for their lives straight down the road.
Right. Um, can I make a perception check to try to see if I can pinpoint where the wizard might be down this path I'm tracking?
Yes.
Okay, is that straight?
Yes, because of you cancel it out. Yes.
Not now, Callie. Oh, that's a natural 20 for 27.
Ooh.
All right. So you see where the trail leads, and then where he has now ducked off, and he's kind of hiding in this area of trees and under him by this bush. Actually, he went to this thicket, and he's low down in the thicket, and you can just barely see in between the leaves of the thicket this wavering where the light's bending, and you can see a little pool of blood starting to form from that arrow that you stuck in him before he ran. And you can actually see, now that you're looking, the trail of blood leading to that thicket where he's currently hiding from you and from K1.
Can I try to shoot him?
Sure.
Is that a disadvantage or?
No,
'Cause
you
I
got a
can see
natural
the
20.
water.
That'll be a straight roll.
Okay. All right. That's not great. That's a 12. No, that's a 13.
13 does not hit. You
Ugh,
see, you
all right.
fire, and you see that he does have a field of magic around him, some sort of deflective magic, probably some sort of mage armor or something that prevents your arrow from finishing him off.
Okay, I'm gonna try to point him out to the mechanical wolf, and
Sure.
then move my movement as close to him as I can, and that'll be my turn.
All right, K1, it is your turn, and your ally just showed you the exact hiding spot where the Invis-Wizard is.
Okay. I am going to. Can I get close enough to attack with just a normal movement?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to run up and just pounce on top of.
Going for the bite.
Right where Roshi pointed out.
All right.
Which is. So his bite. It's for.
Try not to kill him.
So 22 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
He needs to make a DC 11 strength save or he's prone. And the damage is 2d4.
Surprisingly, he passes. He rolled a lucky 13 on the die.
Rolled 2 1s on my dice, so it's a total of 4 damage.
4 damage. You
Yep.
hear him shriek out as Metal K1 bites into him and is latching on, trying to take him down, but he's fighting against being took down. You said 4 damage total?
Yep.
All right. And, so they have him cornered. It is now Chet's turn. You see Piper is hopping into the Ornithopter and ready to go.
You have to make a con save.
For...
Concentration.
Oh, yes, he does have to make a concentration save. Thank you. He passes. Piper, because she held her action, is in her Ornithopter and ready to go. And she's waiting for you. Hattori has his boot on the cleric and his sword to his neck. So he looks like he has that situation handled.
Go. We got this. It's okay. Go. And you just heal and point to the people that are dead. Can you heal that? You can heal them, bring them back to life? I want to check for, see if he's lying to me.
Sure, roll an insight.
That's a 14, 13.
Yeah, you think he's telling the truth.
You're still a bastard. And I'm going to slam the hoopok down on Hattori's sword.
Ooh.
That is an 18 on the die, so 18, 20, 23, bringing that sword down on his throat.
Go ahead and roll me a strength check.
That is, I have a +1, so that is a 16.
Hattori, you see him kind of tense, and he holds his sword taut, and he goes, "Let him heal them." And the guy is just nodding, "Yeah, I'll heal him, I'll heal him, I'll heal him." And he
All right.
and he does that, and that was his. And I'll just say that's his action. He's holding his action. He's looking down. "You will heal them now." And he goes, and you see him pull his hand. He reaches into his pouch and he pulls out, and he looks like he's got some sort of glittery. I believe it's River needs diamond dust.
Yep.
So, yeah. So he pulls out. He's got this glittery dust, and he puts it in his hands and he rubs it, and he reaches over, and he goes, I need to move toward them. And Hattori slides him with his boot, and he reaches over and he touches the dead mongrel folk's leg. And you see him casting the spell, and you do see that he does cast Revivify, and that person does come back to life. And the second they come back to life, you see this shimmer of magic around them that change. They don't suddenly no longer look like a mongrel folk, but it looks like a human wearing decent clothes, although the clothes are blood splattered from the attack. And then Hattori goes, "Good," and then pushes the sword down. He goes, "You are not the only one that can lie." And then wipes the sword and sheathes it. And Piper.
So seeing what happened just now with Piper, or with Piper, with Hattori and Chet telling her to go, she will lift off with the Ornithopter
Mm-hmm.
and make her way over to where Mapmaker and K1 are.
Alright, yeah. So you're flying, and it's not hard to miss the trail that... it's not hard to miss where they're at, because you can see where the... I'm assuming the Golden Eagle is circling. You can see where she's circling over the woods. Just off the beaten path, where you see the soldiers are still just looking as hard as they can. They're gone. Unless you want to pursue after them. And
no, she'll stop and stay with them.
okay, so you're taking it down by there. So you land the Ornithopter, and you can climb out and use your movement to catch up to where they're at, where currently K1 is in melee with the hiding wizard.
Okay, sounds good. I'm assuming that's all I can do with my turn.
Correct.
Cool.
And then next up, we are back at, it is the wizard's turn. And he's going to start pleading for mercy as well. Because he didn't see what happened to his buddy. And unless anybody is going to coup de grace him after he pleads for mercy. Question?
No, I think we should keep him alive to ask him questions.
Okay. We can go ahead then, since you have him surrounded and he is pleading mercy, we can go ahead and say that that's the end of combat.
Nice.
He goes, I yield!
And as a bonus action, I will revert back to my Warforged form.
Okay.
Reach down and grab him by the front of his clothes.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll me a strength check.
Congratulations, you are not dying. Strength check of a 21.
Yeah. You just lift him right off of the ground and up into your face, and and we will say that he is considered grapple for that, and we will call combat there. And actually, we'll go ahead and we'll call the night there. We went a little late today, but we started a little late, so that's okay. That was a really good first game, guys. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Absolutely.
You all made the game the way it was. And when we come back 2 Fridays from now, because next week we've got Plague of the Lich Queen. And then the week after that will be episode 2 of this. So we will be doing D&D every Friday night from now on, guys. So make sure you tune in. But yes, next Friday, the Friday after next, I should say, we will see what the party can find out about this wizard that had this attack on Ulasil. So yeah, thank you all so much for coming out. Again, Akani, thank you for the resub. Kablooey, thank you for the resub. Thank you for everybody who came out. Kay, Rainstorm, all you guys, it was good to see you. That's a good night from me, the DM. Can I get a good night from the rest of y'all?
Good night, guys.
All right.
Good night, guys.
And
Good night, y'all.
do we have any upcoming streams coming up for you guys? I know, Kat, you got your Storytime Saturdays.
Yep, we're finishing Game of Thrones tomorrow, and then Brad is coming to visit Monday, so he'll be fixing hopefully my stream
Nice.
computer, and I'll be able
Nice.
to go back to the Elgato streams and all that fun stuff. So Game of Thrones, we're finishing that tomorrow, which I'm excited about.
Yeah,
It's
make
going to
sure
be
you
real
guys tune
good
in for
and
that.
real sad.
Nice. Dan, do you got any upcoming streams coming up?
Since I just finished fixing my operating system on my new computer, I am going to be streaming again starting Monday.
Nice. Are you back to more? Obviously D&D on Tuesdays. Magic
Oh, yeah.
Gathering.
We're going to be playing some Magic the Gathering in the mornings, and who knows what we'll shoot from there.
Nice, nice. And Connie, I know you're pretty sporadic with your work schedule and all that, but do you have any streams coming up?
Not any right away. We got, of course, we got a coworker that got a new job, so naturally, I twice as much work during the summer that was already full. So
Too bad I'm still shouting you out.
I've got enough time. I've got enough time for D&D and to get the kids to see family. So
Nice, nice.
that's good enough for me right now.
Nice. And I know I might be doing a little daytime stream tomorrow. I won't be streaming Monday because Monday
Some
is
more
off
Age
day
of
with Hope.
Mythology.
Maybe some Age of Mythology. I kind of want to play some more of that totally awesome delivery service.
Reliable.
All
Well,
right,
totally
Cora.
reliable delivery service.
Car-
But I want to play it with co-op because you can play it with up to 4 people, and I think that's where it's going to be really fun. So we'll see about that. Or I might play, I don't know, maybe I'll play some Pathfinder or some Age of Empires. We'll see, but I'm going to play something tomorrow while Hope's off at the shop. So definitely tune in for that because that's going to be a lot of fun. So again, from all of us, that's a good night. Thank you all so much for coming out. The SBC, sorry man, we just are ending the episode, but no worries. If you don't already follow, make sure you hit that follow button so you do not miss out on, oh no, you've been following since April. Beautiful. Sorry. So make sure you tune in 8 p.m. Eastern time every Friday night for D&D here on the channel. So, night guys.
Good night, everyone.
See ya.